Welcome. Sit back and enjoy as we dive deeper down into the rabbit hole. Where the paranormal becomes normal. Hello and welcome. I am joined by myself. I keep saying that, but I don't know why. Joined by Nicole, and wait for it, award-winning paranormal investigator, Sarah J. Ainsworth.
Show it off, show it off.
So, welcome. Welcome, everyone. So, we did survive last night. We have been posting ridiculous amounts of stuff on Facebook and everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
It was nerve-wracking at the beginning. And then Bench Guy popped up. And then it was plain sailing. It was the first half. It was because I think there's a lot of tech issues as well. So that kind of like longed it out and made it just more difficult. And then it was ready. And then Dave did his bit. Then it's like, right, you two, you coming on. It was like, then we did. And it was good.
I thought it was all right.
22 people and 2 dogs. Yes, 2 dogs.
That's a good crowd.
Yeah. So, yeah. It was good. It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, it was. I'm all right with public speaking. I don't mind it, but smaller crowds scare me a lot more than bigger crowds.
Yeah.
So I haven't done like a talk before. Like I've presented things. I haven't done a proper talk about the paranormal before, but it was all right. I surprised myself. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, and it's good interaction as well. Because we didn't finish till nearly midnight. There wasn't much of a Q&A, but people were just asking us as we was going, weren't they?
Like a big discussion in the end.
Yeah. We had a break, probably about 40 minutes into it, had a half-hour break. Dave come on, did his second bit of his stuff that he had wrote down, and then we just carried on. And it was well presented, so thank you, Emma, for doing that.
Yeah, thank you, Emma.
And I think that was it. Oh, and Simon did some filming, but he got most of it, so it's good. He's going to send it me. I'm gonna put it all together, and it's going to be promoted by a producer.
Ooh, that's exciting.
I found out today. So there you go. Yes.
Oh.
Well, that's quite exciting.
Yeah.
I
want to know a bit more about that.
All I'm going to say it's to do with August the 10th. Yeah. So it's all in relation to that.
Okay. Oh.
I'll tell you off air after, Nicole.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. So that's it. It was really good. It was fun, and we enjoyed it. Yeah, I got message fantastic. I'd be happy to promote it. So
amazing.
So it's all good. Right. Just quickly before we carry on Monday, it'll be myself and Sarah, as long as she's not forgot. She's like, I haven't got a clue what's happening Monday. Craig Bryant's going to be on for part 2 of that Monday Face. That's going to be at 8:30. And this time he's going to be talking about growing up in the 1800s in Lancashire.
Just a bit different.
No, going to carry on about the 1900s in and around the northwest of England. So, and then you can ask questions. You can talk about tripe as much as you want. Nicole, have you got anything that you want to talk about before we get the guest on?
No, nothing. We're going to the Shanley again this weekend, so that should be interesting. We have a whole group of investigators going.
Yeah. Excellent. So are you doing the full weekend? Or just
No, we're just
one
doing
night?
Saturday.
Saturday. Oh, sorry, I thought you said Sunday. It cut out a bit.
But yeah, just Saturday night. But it's going to be fun. It's our whole, little group of investigators. So
Yeah.
be a fun night.
Excellent. So get your questions ready. I know Joanne in the chat is excited for this guest because as soon as I booked him, I was like, Joanne, you never guess who's coming on the show.
I'm excited for this guest.
Do you know what? It's just I get excited for all of them, but do you know, just some of them just ticks that extra box.
Yes.
It's that.
Yeah.
Just that like that little
energy.
bit more.
It's like that energy. You can tell it's going to be a really good conversation.
Yeah. And I've had a coffee. I've had that up to about there with the energy boost stuff. That's gone. The coffee's gone. So just wait for it all to kick in now. So yeah, this was going to start at 9 o'clock, but we wanted to get all the other stuff out of the way first. It should be on I'd say within the next 5-10 minutes at the most. Because he's on his way back from Texas Airport, and that's all I know. I don't know the name of it. Just Texas Airport. Said to Elaine before that the mug and the bag have gone to their forever homes. So Simon has got the mug, and he's already had 5 coffees out of it. And Sarah's going to be prancing around Selfridges with the bag.
Round Selfridges. I've got the bag. Thank you.
So yeah,
I used it yesterday. Put all the stuff in it. Put all of the. I put the laptop and the iPad in it and the wire.
Yeah. 6 coffees he's had now. Yeah, so do get your questions in for Brandon. He's absolute amazing guy. He's pretty much open to any questions. We are going to go down, I think we are going to go down the psychedelic route a little bit today, or quite a lot, because I'm happy to just go with whatever. So it's going to be a lot more open, the discussion tonight. And here is the man himself, absolute legend. So I shall bring him on because this is like, yeah. So I'm going to bring him on, switches around, and then I'll introduce him and we'll just kick it off from there. Yeah, good to go?
Good.
Cool.
Good to go.
So, hello, Brandon. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Well, I was going to say you've no idea how much I'm looking forward to this, but you actually do.
Equally so, sir. Thank you very much. I just took a fellow Brit back to the airport. That's why the buffer in time was important. So thank you.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Thank you.
She's like, because of you, which is a good thing, by the way. She's coming on a week on Thursday.
Outstanding. I'm gonna go ahead and plug her so your audience is prepped. Dawn Lester, what really makes you ill? And absolutely ask her about the Mandela effect on the front. But yeah, she is incredible. She is really, really cool.
Mandela effect.
There you go. Yeah. And
There
her publishing partner, I think, took that picture and says that he swears he remembers it as this. She swears she remembers what some of us.
I love Mandela effects, and I don't think I've heard of that.
Have you noticed this one?
What's that one?
Okay.
Heard of that one?
This
So,
one's called the
statue?
Thinker. This statue is called the
Is
Thinker,
it
and
the
you
one
can look
where he
this
was
up.
like this?
But he's
There you
not.
go.
Yeah,
Look
I
at him,
remember
he's
that.
Exactly, right? So a lot of folks
Yes.
remember it on the head, which a
Yeah.
lot of people say that's where the thinking takes place. So symbolically, it would represent thinking a little bit more to me. Now, this looks like someone thinking, but this looks like someone also, you could put a phone in their hand right here and put them on the toilet, and there you go.
Yeah.
But that's one of the Mandela effects, and we talked about it in the episode she was on, and she is a delight.
Wow.
So we spent our 4th of July shooting fireworks off in our, we have 12 acres out here, so we can do whatever we want.
Wow.
We shot fireworks off with this beautiful Brit on 4th of July. It was probably the best 4th of July we've ever had. It was wonderful.
Excellent.
Oh,
That's awesome.
Yeah,
You guys
we
will
need a
love her.
4th of July. We have a 4th of July, but it's just
the 5th, right, of November?
yeah, but it's not as cool as it used to be.
Do you know what's wild about that?
What?
What's the 5th of November that you guys celebrate over there? What's it
Oh,
called?
so it's
Guy
bonfire
Fawkes.
night.
Bonfire
Guy Fawkes
night.
night. So basically, the French coming over to try and blow up the Houses of Parliament, and we celebrate it. There you go. So
Well, what's wild is that day falls on our election day in the States. But also you in the UK elect on our Independence Day from you, by the way, which is interesting. So you guys have some sort of voting thing yesterday that occurred.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. We just found that out.
Yeah, new Prime Minister. And the one that we had, I found out as I got off the train today that he's quit. So
Oh wow.
That was quick.
Yeah.
Wish they were all like
The
that,
new
right?
one?
No, Sunak. Says Sunak
I was
quit
just going to
since
say.
PM.
I was like, yeah.
So I don't know who's in power or anything now. Not got a clue. To be honest, don't care because we're all as bad as each other. So
Yeah, I haven't
That's
paid attention to
politics.
them.
So yeah, it's that. Yeah, so Dawn Lester is going to be coming on the quick look, the 18th at 8:30. So thank you, Brandon, for sorting that one out. Really do appreciate it.
Elated to connect. That's my superpower, man. I'm a magnet for incredibly cool people, and my job, I feel, is responsibility. With that great power comes the ability to connect everybody. So, and she's wonderful at that as well. And we know so many people in the same groups. Like, she went and spoke at some Music in Sky out in California, and I knew a bunch of people also that were not only presenting there but going there that she didn't know. So we have an overlap. But then also an Anarchapulco, all the guys that go down there, like Charlie Robinson and all them. I do that big festival down there. She knows the other half of them, and I know half she doesn't. So it's fascinating how it's all sort of plugging in together. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, that's excellent. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Right. So how deep are we going to go down this rabbit hole today?
Well, you had me
Are we
on, so
gonna
your
go
audience
past
is ready for something.
Yeah. Are we going to go past the point of no return?
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 We're going to
do it.
expand some realities for sure.
Cool. Right. So where do you want to start? It's entirely up to you.
What's been on your mind lately? Because there may have been something that all three of you have sort of been independently investigating or looking at that may synchronistically line up with the starting point. So what's been on your mind? Anybody?
Go on, Sarah. Put you on the spot.
I
Nicole?
can't really answer that.
Synchronicities, actually, now that you mention the synchronicities, that's a good one.
Okay, the thought that things happen on this divine occurrence, this orchestrated sort of symphony around you that's very specific to you, that you pick up and you feel is important to navigate your world. What do you think about synchronicities there, Nicole?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I never really gave it much thought until I started seeing them everywhere, like lining up around like certain events or certain things.
Did you notice a change in your life that then correlated to just synchronicities popping up in more notice in like per capita percentage wise? Was it popping up more with that coincided with a change in your life?
Yep. Once it started, it was like they were everywhere.
Yeah.
It's opening a Pandora's box, right? What about you, Andy?
Synchronicity, big time, like never ever before, was about 10 days ago. And I'm not just talking little things. I will be having a full-blown 1-2 hour conversation on the phone. Then the next thing, the person who we are talking about is uploading a YouTube video of everything we've been talking about. You couldn't write it.
That's weird.
So Sarah, what's one of yours?
Oh, well, I kind of, especially at the minute, I almost use it as a guide. I am guided by the synchronicities that go on as numbers for me. To be honest, I get a lot of the same when I'm doing something in particular, going somewhere. I see a lot of a certain number, and I use it as a bit of a. And I'm not the only one either. It happens to other people, or the person that I'm going to see, or they also at the same time get the same occurrences, and I use it as a guide to know that I'm doing the right thing.
What's the number? Have you looked into the whole like meaning of it?
Yeah, it differs. So the biggest number for me is 2222 or 222. I see that everywhere, particularly when I'm doing this one certain thing that I use as a yes, this carry on, this is good, like it's the right choice. And then also 13 as well, like not 13, like 133 and 1333.
Just a mix of the ones and threes.
Yeah.
Mix of the ones and threes, yeah.
But
But particularly the double
33.
twos. Yeah, it's like, why?
I was just going to say, I've had a lot of threes, just threes. Like, I wake up at 3:33, or mileage on the van or the car. There'll just be a load of threes at time. Just numbers everywhere. Threes. It's like the train. The trains yesterday, most of it was like, there's 3 trains yesterday, 3 trains today, and a lot of it was platform 3. I had to get off one platform and get on, and the other one, obviously, it wasn't get off at platform 3 and get on platform 3, but at the next station. So I got off platform 3 at 1, got on the next train, then it get off at platform 3 again, and it was always a 3 in some sort of sequence.
Mine are ones, 1111 or 111 or just any.
They're quite common. They're quite common, them, aren't they? The 2s and the 1s and the 3s.
So Brandon, do you get a lot? Do you get a lot of number synchronicity?
I do actually, and it's funny we're talking about this because I flip them off now. I'm on the other side of enjoying the spiritual journey. I'm in. I would say in. Some would say on my way out because of the astrology, which I see correlation. But I'm in a really dark fucking time, and that's what you were hearing on Paul's show. Oh, do you guys cuss on this thing?
Yeah, of course you can.
All right. Thank you. It's a pretty dark time. So right now, like I used to follow the shit out of synchronicities. I used to, like you guys use them as guides. I used to say, oh, this is wonderful. It's guiding me in this direction and I'm going to follow it, because then I would find another one and I would find another one. And just like a piece of candy laid out, you can collect them along the way and you will feel very motivated to continue that process. And the other thing about synchronicities, which is interesting with, the phenomena in general, because I'm going to kind of put it in the same category, right? As something mysterious happening around us that's seemingly out of our power from our perspective, but then also it affects our daily lives, but in a very specific way. The phenomena does this all the time. Ghost appearances, UFOs, Bigfoot. One person will see it, many don't in the same group, or one person will see it, it'll freak them out. One person will see it, it'll change their whole life, right? So there's this subjective nature that's very, very, very personal to this entire place. We add to this by something I was talking about on Paul's show, I think near the end there, about your RAS, your reticular activating system, which we can come back to and spend a little time on. But that system alone will curate your life to where you will see what you believe not only will be possible, but true for you, but also based on your experiences also. So anything new that enters even, you could rule out just based on this awareness that your mind is already being calibrated to that certain direction. So I think synchronicities are very personal, but I also think that there's on the same frequency they're received, that frequency could be hijacked. And then I think in a lot of ways, that's what is occurring with a lot of those things. That's again, but I'm in a dark spot right now. So I'm sort of yelling out of the cave from this really dark place of my observation, my feelings, and what I'm going through right now, my experience of this ride at this point. And it's really been eye-opening for a lot of folks, especially taking the wind out of the sails of the spiritually bypassed. Just that's it, the spiritually bypassed, the people who have really committed to disregarding their own needs and action over this really inactive sort of unbalanced perspective of how the universe should work based on expectations. So that they really have no way of controlling or verifying. And it's challenging. You can see lives fall apart because of it and all kinds of stuff. So it's good to navigate this with an open heart, but a very strong grounded foundation. Like, enjoy the butterfly, but don't then think I'm going to hop into a cocoon and turn into a butterfly because I saw one fly by, right? So there's a grounded perspective that the darkness has offered me. And it also made me recognize an evil in my life that I wasn't willing to say was there. And I think on this journey, at some point, you're going to recognize that there's a really demonic something here. I'm not Christian. I'm not necessarily a believer in any of that, but there is something really, really dark and twisted here that you will encounter.
Yeah. So do you think that is like kind of like paying the price for enjoying the good stuff?
See, this is the other thing is this concept of either or, this philosophical, if you do this, like, you can't, having your cake and eating it too. That's never made fucking sense to me. The people who say, oh, you can't have your cake and eat it. Why the hell would I have cake and not eat it, right? Am I going to stare at it? Am I going to watch it?
I hate that phrase.
Now, taken literally, you could say if you possess something and then you consume it, it's no longer there. You consume it in a different form. You're carrying it in, there, and then you'll see it later, but in a very different form, right? So one could say then that that taken literally, of course, but what it's meant to sort of imply is that you can't participate in two experiences at the same time. Now, what's wrong about that, and I think abjectly incorrect, is that you see things like that around you all the time. There's this place operates, and this is really where all these intellectual philosophies have led me, is it operates on paradox. It's absolute paradox here. It's a batshit place where multiple things exist that contradict one another as absolutely true in the same place at the same time. And then also you can gaslight those to not see them at whatsoever, and to just play along in the level of which this game would like for you to receive it, but it's an opportunity to level up in my eyes. So I suppose back to synchronicities, the interesting part about those as well is that, like the phenomena, is so personal to you, because the 111s, and we all talked about our owns, right? We all have personal things, but it's not the same thing. Now, sequential numbers are one of those things that's very common. And if you've looked yours up, 222, by the way, is when you encounter an angel number 222, the angels are urging us to maintain trust and patience in the process of manifesting our desires. Now, are you going through manifesting right now, Sarah? Are you looking, are you actively like, this is what I want?
I am a little bit of a manifester. I do admit I'm into my crystals and things like that. And I know I like to, the brain is biased. So I like to try and think about what I want all the time. And it will happen. It will happen. Like, kind of looking for, what's the word? I'm trying to look for that, like, signs of things happening. Maybe that's why I'm just noticing these synchronicities, because I am aware of the fact that if I think positively, I'll find I will find it in my world.
Is a beautiful perception to have. Because I will offer a new perception, but we're going to do it in a minute. So with that, then you alter your behavior based on the presence of those items in your life, correct? Like, it at least either gives you a feeling that you're on it alters your day, having that being present. And its meaning to you, its meaning to you is meaningful simply because it's also a reoccurring thing then that you'll see in your life. So
maybe I'm putting too much significance on that as well when I'm thinking about, because I'm not that I'm looking for these synchronicities. I'm not like that. Not that I'm looking for these sequences and these numbers. They do just pop up, but I might be noticing them more because I'm very aware of the fact that I'm looking for reasons to believe what I'm thinking.
Confirmation bias is what we call that. You look for things in your world to reinforce your worldview. Yeah, exactly.
That's how the brain works. Yeah. That's how manifestation works. You think, oh God, this is going to be an awful day. Your brain will look for confirmation of why it's going to be an awful day. So I do manifest. I do think like that. That's how I am a bit of a manifester.
Not to put you on the spot, but how's your manifesting journey been going? As far as success rates go, would you say that you've gotten what you want and it's been specific to what you want, not a consideration that you have to talk yourself into being the manifestation, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think, there's a number of things, that have panned out. Yeah, that's all I'll say.
It's all been positive. There's no negativity.
Yeah, there's no negativity. It's not felt like any forced thing or anything like that. But what I have aimed to achieve, it's almost a bit of a like, I believe in the term. I suppose it's related to manifestation as well. When the fake it till you make it kind of vibe.
Delusional, fake it till you make it. Yeah.
It's manifestation at the end
Delusional.
of the day. It's
Wing it till you win.
manifestation.
Subjective.
No, that is my favorite phrase.
That kind of mindset of like, again, links into the bias.
Yep.
But if you already think, oh, I've got it, it's just not here yet, it will come. Things like that. You will try to put all these pieces in place to make sure that you achieve and obtain what you want, whether you know it or not. If you think it's coming, it's just, it will get to me eventually, then it will happen. However, because your brain is thinking, how am I going to make this happen, whether you know it or not? It's interesting.
Nicole, you have something to say about this, please?
No, that is my favorite phrase. Fake it till you make it, because sometimes you just got to go in and be confident, and eventually it works out.
Because it feels good, right? That's the real answer. It's because the alternative is not seeing it that way, and that sucks, right?
Yeah.
But what if by seeing it that way is what was actually holding you back from being your truest and best self? Because it's an unbalanced perspective. There's a guy that talked about that manifestation, the concept specifically of manifestation, was actually an infiltration by the Satanic Church into early metaphysics practices when they really started to group up and get popular in the 90s. And manifestation was introduced into that community as a destabilizing mechanism, as what we mean by that is it's an unbalanced perspective if you only live there. Not to say that you guys are. This is for the audience, because it's easy to want to just feel good. It's easy to say, oh, well, Jesus, take the wheel, or I manifested it, so I'm not going to put any action in. And this is where it was the most useful, is because it promoted inaction. This is where you can just say, okay, well, I'll just manifest it, but then not put in the work. Now, Sarah, you mentioned this, but you got to do something, right? You have to really put forward. But it's an easy, slippery slope. And then just to recognize, though, that a lot of us, when we go into this manifestation, I'm the most guilty about this, which is why I felt the most hurt by the spiritual community, by the way. I felt very empowered by it. I felt very like, oh, God, I can do this. You know, this is unity consciousness. It's not for nothing. It's definitely not what the churches are saying, but it's not for nothing. And that's amazing to me. And then this participatory environment of, oh, we're just one thing experiencing itself subjectively into these little pieces. And as I started to go through that journey, I would ignore and I would spiritually bypass the, accounts of rape or of murder, or whenever I would think of wars or something, it wouldn't dawn on me that I wouldn't think to ask the question that why would a deity want to continually experience those things, right? And so I just started looking at the concept of unity consciousness and that it's all one and that we're headed to 5D and all this kind of stuff. That really I felt misled by. And where I'm at now and why I'm being invited on synchronistically, you guys just had me on, right? And I speak from the heart of where I am. So I feel that part of my message right now is to sort of invite people to just ask the question, am I being balanced in where I'm at? Am I really grounded in being balanced along with? Am I the kite and the string, right? Kite without a string just flies off and is at the whim of whatever, which is what can happen in the community, because the more you are open to whatever without your own boundaries. Now, this is and this is really all about setting personal boundaries. Yeah, boundaries when necessary, flexible when appropriate, all that. But if that kite takes off, anything can grab it. It's at the whim of the wind, which is Pisces energy. That's fun, right? But also you're at the whim of anything. So a tethered, airy perspective is sort of what I am hoping to remind the spiritual community is an important component to this, because again, it's not fun to sit here and look at the dark and to see an evil presence in your life. And when I saw synchronicities, what I really saw for me over a time period, because of a loop that I found myself in, and it's one of these things, like I guess a movie character, like an actor would sit there and go, hang on, am I in a fucking movie right now? It was one of those where I was like, hang on, I'm catching a loop that I'm in, and I could see this loop, and I could almost zoom out a little bit and see the track I was spinning on. I was like, yeah, I'm at this point in the loop, and here's where Ouroboros is back on itself, right? And what that was it was all astrological, by the way, which I can't speak enough about astrology. My wife, Mary, really got into astrology after my dark night of the soul started last year, or it really got balls deep last year, but is all due to the astrology, and we can absolutely talk about that because it's
Yeah.
another data point I think that people are gaslit against considering, but it also talks about, I mean, that leads us into flat earth anyway. So,
Yes.
or just realm earth, or just that it's definitely not, I feel, what they're telling you specifically. And that has to do with everything.
Yeah.
So with this darker perspective, what it offered was balance. And with this, though, I felt and that I was, I was doing my mantras. I was doing my shit. I'd done the ayahuascas. I'm a big psychonaut. I've been doing psychedelics for over 20 years. And so I'm very aware of that world and the power of it and all that. But as I hit this point in my life, it was a 90-degree view. And there's a wonderful book by a guy named Howdy Mikowski. It's called Falling for Truth. And in that book, he has a 15-page layout of all of these, I want to say they're woodcuts or carvings of this process, this alchemical process. And what it literally represents is this sort of spiritual dark night of the soul, this time that you get to on any kind of journey, no matter how airy-fairy, no matter how many spirit guides you feel you have, you will encounter this. And so I feel that the presentation, like at least warning you a little bit, right? A little heads up, but it's dark. I'm not going to say it's not that bad, but what I will say is you are strong enough. I will say that. But what it felt like to me is I suddenly realized that there was this thing on my back and it was growing out of my back. It was this nasty being that was like, if you could picture like a nasty thing's torso, just its torso just stuck on your back. So it had to sort of, it's coming out sideways, right? So it had to come out and reach over you. And it felt like this, like it was an entity coming out of my back that was reaching over me, and it had a fishing pole, not even a good one. And it had this little screen in front that colored my world. And what it threw in my world were synchronicities. It showed me all the 1111s and the 333s and the blue butterflies when I needed it. And it would say the line of the song, or I would think of a friend and he'd call. It gave me all of that. But what it led me to was this loop. It was this, you're falling for it again, right? You're not feeling from yourself. You're getting distracted again. And that's what it taught me. Now, once I recognize that as a dark process of getting that shit off, and I'm not even to like go to somebody, get spiritual attachments off, anything like that. I don't necessarily subscribe to that. It would be beneficial for me. I'm one of the people that couldn't be hypnotized, kind of a thing, right? So I feel, though, by recognizing it and shining light on it and not being scared to say this fucking sucks is why I'm not as affected by that thing anymore. I'm definitely aware of, like I said, not seeing this place differently, right?
Yeah.
So it did take a little lightness out of me. I'm going to be honest, but it's this chrysalis time. Somebody stated it best. Chris Matthews' partner, Jennifer, I just flew up to Colorado and married them. It was awesome. So when we were up there, I'm still kind of in this shit. So we talked a little bit. And she's just like a sage, like this amazing grandmother figure. She's young, but she's like that vibe, right?
Yeah.
And she's just wise and warm and just oh, honey, just smile, And she put it perfectly. I'm no longer who I was, but I'm not yet who I'm going to be. And it's this middle part where you're just in the ether. You're just floating around, just like, the fuck is going on? And it's one of the most psychedelic experiences I've ever had. Even though I haven't done psychedelics except for Chris's wedding, that was a special occasion, in like 3 years. I really am not into it right now. I'm pretty sober as far as it goes, but it's been a psychedelic journey. Just that mental mind fuck of getting, like when we talk about flat earth, you kind of sit there and you say, well, shit, that means that my dream as a kid of being like an astronaut and shit, that was a lie, man. And I thought that would be cool. You kind of get this, I don't know, you just get this, oh, that's kind of suck. But that's how it feels. But it's also, you're not, I feel, being as lied to. I mean, this is a world of deceit. And that's what leads us into like the Archon soul trap and the hell realm and the demiurge and all that kind of stuff. But it's heavy. So yeah, it took a little bit of the lightness out of it, but I'm looking forward to this being a temporary stop. And this is something I'll say about the dark, man. Get a visa, not a mortgage, right? Like, go there, see it, experience it, and be there when you're in it. Don't spiritually bypass your way out of it, or, feel that it couldn't apply to you because your archangel said it wouldn't, or, but my chakras, I would never, like, that's a loop in itself, right? And healing, that's a whole loop. I mean, how much do you need to heal? And you're getting tortured constantly in this hell realm. So how are you going to heal? That's again, another loop. And you can just see these things. And as long as they're empowering, be in the loop to slingshot you to something else, not to stay in the loop, right? Use it to fucking move on, man, and surf through these ideas, Yeah, I know it's a long ass rant about all kinds of shit, but there you go. That's kind of where I'm at with this. It's a heavy place that just has a lot of cool shit in it, and there's some beautiful things here too. But you know, also again, recognizing that heaviness here is important, I think, for everybody. You're gonna come across it.
I totally get that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does make a lot of sense.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So with the whole like height and the strength thing, how do you stay grounded?
I'll catch myself these days whenever I get into what I would have like my former me's. And I'll back off a little. I'll take a pause. And I don't think it's necessarily to destroy everything. And maybe this is just my experience because I have specific things that I am tailoring, and this is my experience, so I can sharpen those things in this way because that's how it speaks to me, right? Again, this is such a subjective realm, so everything is really tailored to you. So I would say that it's just part of, like I said, just how I'm supposed to be experiencing this thing right now. And I'm hoping for it to be a very temporary thing that will sharpen the other stuff. And just it's about refinement here, I think. So these things that really splinter down into your mind are really for you. And again, to overcome. But a lot of it, again, has to do with your astrology. Turns out my North Node is in Cancer. And that is something you're really supposed to be embracing in this. My South Node, the opposite of that, something else. Anyway, but what that is grounded, control, and all that. The opposite of it is what I'm supposed to be embodying in this life, which is the most challenging thing for me. This flow, this idea of surrender, this idea of, you know, just let it go, dude. Right. And that's what we're challenged with here. And that's why it's so specific to each person. But that's also why you can see somebody else's problems, their opportunities in disguise, and you can go, oh, if you blah blah blah, or I can help in this way, and you alleviate it like that. But to them, that's world end, right? But it's real specific. I think it's beautiful. We're all here to help.
Yeah. Yep. That went a little bit deeper than little.
You said you wanted to go deep, right?
No,
You want to back it up, and then we can go back.
Wow, he's like straight down, feet first. No, it's
Yeah,
good.
I can
I'm
just sit
loving
and
it.
listen.
I know, right?
Well, but I speak in paragraphs, and I know y'all have me on as a guest, but I also, you know, want to hear what y'all think too. And if you got something to say, please hop in. I won't think you're interrupting me.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
I'm
I
grateful
was
for the
just gonna
opportunity.
say, were you saying about going in a dark place? Not quite that, but I was, or maybe still am at a bit of a crossroads.
How old are you?
51.
Okay.
But with the crossroads and kind of like on all four paths at the same time, like kind of like checking them all. This is what it feels like. It's kind of like checking them all out and then deciding which one I'm going to go to. I know I've got to choose one, but for me, it's choosing the correct one.
But okay. And this is where I'm at with this also is I think a lot of us are accepting the unacceptable. And this may be a bitchy like thing of the realm, and this is just the way that this place operates, and just get over it kind of a thing. But I see a lot of this again, and this brings me back to the either or. This concept of having cake and not eating it because if you have it, you can't eat it, right?
Yeah.
The idea that you need to choose a road because not all of the possibilities that you feel are aligned for you and that you're worthy of can exist in the same place at the same time. And this is the biggest trap, right? That's the biggest joke, is to limit yourself down to thinking that I have to make this choice based on something else. What you're always doing is moving forward. But I think what's nice about those choices is it may offer you the opportunity to decide that those roads where they appear split before you in the realm, you decide that they all merge into one, and that's just your road.
Well, that's
what we have so much more control over.
That's what I was going to say next.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, like, I know I said I feel like I need to choose one, but then on the bigger picture, I'm kind of hoping that these roads do all come back to the same point, and you kind of like live all three of them or four of them at the same time to bring it into this one.
Yeah, there should be no reason why that's not possible.
Don't know what you call it.
Yeah, no reason why that's not possible. Like it started with the show for me. So Expanding Reality is what started all of this, but very quickly, you know, I started finding people who are authors and speakers and things who couldn't get their books published and all this kind of stuff. So I was like, well, what's publishing look like? Started looking at videos and stuff, and now we're a publishing house. We have 6 or 7 journals in print right now on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. I hand drew those. And then we have a lot of really cool projects and Flat Earth ones actually coming up that people just won't publish, but we will. And so now we're a publishing house and the show, and then also our events, because we're getting out in person, getting amongst them. I think this is cool. But really, this was so that we could go, oh, you're over there and I'm over here. Oh, well, let's meet over here. And now we're all getting amongst them. Now we're all getting in the flesh here. We had an event in Georgia, our very first one, befriending Bigfoot event. We weren't hunting anything. We just wanted to befriend the motherfucker. We didn't see him. But we did like 3 different states and hikes, and it's very nature oriented, but it's about everybody getting together, you know, in the person here. So those 3 elements are something I didn't feel like I wanted to pick between. It's all 3 complement one another. All 3 have to do with one another. You know, you have an author on your show that publishes a book through you, and then you have them speak at one of your events live, right? And then all of those things commingle. And then even all the illustrators and things we're working with in the publishing house, their art, then I'm having those artists come on and do episodes with us. So they're sitting there doing live art while we're having episodes on the show now.
Yeah.
So everything just complements one another. And so that's what I think our message, Andy, to everybody is do not limit yourself. You don't need to. Fuck that noise. That's Archon soul trap shit, and you don't need it. So live your life, live all of them, and then do it the way you want. Don't make considerations like that. You don't fucking have to.
No. Well, that's what I mean. I kind of realize that now, because like I said, this started what? When did I get the alien in a jar? Can you remember? Was it like March?
Yeah, it was a couple months ago at this point.
So I got this from one of the guys in the chat, and from that day, that kind of wrote everything that's happened from then until now. And everything, it's just doors are opening, touch wood, fingers crossed and all that, and none of them are shutting. Every time I go through a door, another 2 open, and it's constantly like that. And it's kind of like, well, how do we go? This is what I said. How do I go through both at the same time? And then I want to go through both at the same time. Then I can choose which way I need to go through it. So it's like just windy roads that are all intertwined and going here, there, and everywhere. But I kind of feel at the same time that I do eventually need to choose a specific one. That's how it's feeling.
It's just so diametrically opposed that's the choice you feel you're going to need to come to?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean, if they're all going to lead back to the same one, what does it matter which one you take?
Because it's the bits in between that I'm not going to be going down. Will I then get the option to come back and go through them just in case there was something there that I needed to do?
I see that.
But if none of the... Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know what you mean.
I get it, because
it's a bit of a dilemma.
It's modus operandi, and I was talking about this earlier, that because we've been talking a lot about this idea of like string theory and getting things together. Do you guys have a whiteboard on here, by the way? Let me see.
No.
Oh,
okay, that's okay.
You can bring it up and we could do share screen on it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If there's one, let me see if I've got one on the computer here. But either way, we've been talking a lot about this like multi-universe reality, and sort of like whenever Mandela effects may be an effect of this, that you actually shifted realities into where there's no dash in between kit and cat, right? And so they're going to be imperceivable, well, they're going to be noticeable, but very small and minute and very specific to you. So again, a form of synchronicity, because as you work your way through these realms, allegedly, you're going to be navigated by the thing pulling you, which is going to be very specific for you, which again, we're probably not all living in the same place. Another version of you swaps out, right? Every time these swaps are happening, and they're like bubbles popping. You're constantly entering and exiting new versions of reality. But we've been talking about really sort of the shape of reality and the scope of this place, and what maybe the physical representation, which is, I mean, silly. It's not a ball, probably, but it's silly to think that we can get it down to one thing, or that even it's just sort of where we are with explaining it, right? To where it's just the best representation of what we have at the time. It's just sort of say it's more of a flat realm other than a ball or something like that, right?
Yeah, because when you was on with Paul, and I'll put a couple of questions in, I did ask you a question. I know you answered it, but for the life of me, I cannot remember the question. But it was one of them. It's when you're saying about flat Earth. It's like, I'm not a flat earther, but I get where their insights are coming from. I understand all that. How do we know that there are planets out there that are, I can't say it, round, spherical? We're told, and then we're led to believe what they're telling us. We haven't got, or some of us, not all of us, have the ability to go and look at and research this ourselves. We've not got a rocket in the back garden where we can go up into outer space and have a look at what's really going on. So
no, and if you made the technology, they'd kill you.
Oh yeah,
allegedly.
Yeah, but well, look at these people that have done it and look where they are now. So yeah, not here. So I get all that, and so why is flat Earth not a possibility?
It has to be for conversation, because if anything's possible, it's possible. Like, if you just say that it's possible that somebody's lying to you, that's it. Then it's possible. There you go. Or if you haven't gone over there and seen it with your own eyes, then it's absolutely possible. That's just how this works, right? I think it's how it should work, because that's just critical thinking. That's just you saying, oh, okay, but I'll verify it. It's trust but verify. That's all. And we live in a place where, yes, not only is it spoon-fed to you for you to memorize, and if you don't get a job because you don't get a little piece of paper saying that you memorized all these fun facts that are just things they wanted you to learn, not things that you observed with your own eyes and can critically think. That also then just leads into this: don't question, don't just keep moving forward, don't keep your head and carry on, right? That kind of thing. And that's silly to me. It's all about critical thinking for me. And that's why the flat earth conversation is so valuable, I feel, is because it is all about critical thinking. It's just, can we look at something unemotionally? Because it can be so emotionally charged as well. People just get so pissed that they, number one, could be wrong. And number two, it's really destabilizing. Like, it's nauseating to think, it turns your world upside down, literally. And so there's a lot of also like kindness and delivering this information. I feel that is important with all this as well. It's knowledge with kindness. Like, you can know a bunch of cool stuff, or you can be empowering in a lot of ways, but also a dickhead. And that's, that's an either or, right? But we can yes and, which is where I am now with this. So it's all about yes and. Like, we can be cool about the conversation and have it. We can get a little triggered and walk each other through it. We can have these amazing thought, experiments, but from a safe place for ideas to grow. And that's what's most important, man. That's what shows like yours and mine do.
Yeah. Because I was just thinking, like you saying about being taught stuff, and we've got to learn and we've got to go with the narrative. Everything we are taught is textbook information.
His story. History is his story.
99% is textbook. There's 1% which is practical. But then again, the practical is still literally from a textbook. It's what you were told. It's what you were shown. It's not you go out and find out for yourself. There's none of that type of learning there. There's none. You go out like hunter-gatherer and find out what's going on and bring it back. There's none of that going on. It's straight down the line. You can't go left. You can't go right. You just got to keep going straight. You get a big tick when you get to the end, and that's it. That is all you're getting. There's no. So this winds me up. There's no free thinking with any of it. You are told what you can and can't learn, and you can't sidetrack from it, because if you do, you're going to get a negative mark from that.
Yeah, but until you're an adult and you can find your own sources, or do your own research, and you don't have to just go out of textbooks anymore.
Oh yeah, but then it doesn't count though, does it?
That's being autodidactic, and I love that. And I think honestly that's the point of this realm. I think it functions perfectly. I think the idea that there's going to be a 5th D is part of the way that the realm functions. I don't think there's really going to be, and if there is, we're not going to experience it in the capacity in which we're promised it. We're looking to create that, but really it's about our energy while we are creating it, right? It's not about governments actually doing things to their people. It's about scaring the shit out of them so they think they can at any minute. That's the power, but also it's this idea religions have of that, oh, Jesus is going to come back any day now. Every single generation since that story has been told has said, it's my time. It's now Jesus is coming. Now Jesus is coming. My grandma said it her whole life and died without seeing the motherfucker. So it's this idea of kind of kicking it down the road. And this also, the idea of this inaction, right? This promotes stagnancy, and especially descent of this divisiveness, because then it's no, we can't because we're fucking with 5D, and no, you can't because this, and it's a shit show, honestly. And so this is why you say go within, right? Just tend your own garden, figure out What's going on with you? Figure out first of all what your thoughts are, because that's insane. You just spend some time here. That's a trip right there.
Yeah.
Instead of distracting from it or whatever, like really sit with your thoughts and find out how your mind is receiving information. And that's how I'll put it, because I mean there's a lot of conjecture that you aren't your thoughts at all, and that there's multiple thoughts up there, and that this idea of schizophrenia is pretty ubiquitous, and that we all have it. We just are convincing each other we don't. We can really, because it's really well integrated at social levels. But it again is fascinating, the idea of thoughts. And then you get into Gwen towers and things like this, where the governments of the world, the big lizard turds, the whatever, they can beam thoughts into your head. I mean, it's a sky to skull technology thing that's supposed to accompany Bluebeam. If that fucking thing ever rolls out, we've been waiting on it, right? I'm ready for that thing. Yeah. So you can't even trust that. So be aware of that, folks. There's a lot going on, and it's right in your head.
Yeah. So it's like, I know what I want to say, but I haven't got the words. I haven't got the vocabulary for what I want to say. It's just, I don't even think the words have been made yet.
I make up words all the time. Really my publishing house is a made-up word. Ridiginal is ridiculously original. I figured all words are made up. I'll make up one too. So our publishing house is Ridiginal Publishing, ridiculously original. Yeah.
But I just want to go back to something you said. Control with fear. That's what it is.
Oh, God.
So I know someone that's coming over to the UK in a couple of months, and his mum is worried because on the news in the US, it's saying it's all upheaval and there's all this stuff kicking off in the UK. And I went, there's an election for a new prime minister. It might be that, but it's not. I always, the UK is just the UK. It's the same shit that it's always been since the day I was born. There's nothing mega going off, and if there is, I don't know anything about it. I'm still going to work. I'm still going shopping and doing what I normally do. So that straight away, there's the media making shit up to scaremonger.
Yeah, turn that off. That's step one. Turn that shit off.
I've not watched the news for 2 years now.
Yeah, because you're all functioning people. You can tell.
I watch the local news only because I'm nosy. I want to see what's going on like near where I live. Other than that, don't care.
Do you know? I don't follow it unless it's a huge story or it's something that kind of you can't really avoid or anything. I try not to poison my mind with all of the stuff that's going on, and I am aware of things. Obviously, I'm not completely ignorant to things, but I try not to actively follow the news because I just can't. I don't.
And that's because they're actively what they want you to hear about a situation.
Yeah,
it's never like the full story.
And you're only hearing what they want to tell you.
A little bit.
It's that old Mark Twain quote: "Those who read the newspaper are uninformed, and those who are misinformed, and those who don't read the newspaper are uninformed." So it's like, would you rather be lied to or just not know what they're lying about? So that's sort of it. Just I'm not into being lied to. I'll use it as an anchor. I couldn't tell you the last time I watched the news. We gave away our cable 14 years ago and haven't looked back. Like we just passed.
If I stumble across a bit of news and I'm interested in it, or I sort of it's unavoidable, then I'll go away and find the information myself. I won't have someone frame it and then sort of put it out there, and I am actively reading what they've said. I can't just, not from one source. Like you've got to, I'm going to mold it how I.
Can we just go on?
You can find the facts and then make your own assessment about the facts.
And then facts is a tricky one too.
Yes.
Can we just go on a little tangent? Is that all right, Brandon?
Fuck yeah, please.
So
we always go on tangents.
Please.
So this is.
I like when Andy asked your permission. It's his show.
I know. Let's do it. You can hang up on the call right now. You can be like, "All right, mate, that's it. Fuck off," and I'll be like, "Cool, that was fun. Thanks."
It's to do with Netflix. What you're saying about Netflix and the whole how that's run and the guy's son. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, it's Edward Bernays. Yeah, Edward Bernays was the father of propaganda, Nazi propaganda. And so this was a very effective tool in getting actually most of Germany and all of the world to hand over their guns whenever that happens. which is, I don't think, a good idea, but that's just me. But if you hand over your guns, it was due to the fact that you have been propagandized into doing so, which is misinformation that's aimed directly to influence your emotional state, that's what this whole thing's about, emotion, and being able to keep your shit, take it, put it in a bag, keep it together. And the times, though, when you can't, letting it out and being okay with that. This is all emotionally driven. And the whatever is running this, I've got a great metaphor from a guest I'll give you guys about this game. And whatever's running this thing knows exactly what the game is, and knows exactly what this place is, knows exactly what you are and how you work way better than you do right now. On your conscious level, even though at a level, yes, we're all, but at your conscious level, this thing knows exactly how to fuck with you. And so what this, I feel, realm mainly is based on, and if not 100% so, is perception management, right? It's the ability to take what they want you to think and see and get you to not only think and see that, but to fight to the death so that others think and see that as well. And that's the best thing about fear. It's that you police yourself. This is why crabs yank each other down in the bucket. They're scared. It's not, they don't want to see another crab get out. Are you guys familiar with that analogy that if you put a bunch of crabs in a bucket with an open top, as one escapes, the others will pull it back down? Have you guys ever heard about this?
No.
This is the crabs in the bucket thing. And again, this is the psychology, as above, so below. This shit works on you too. You can think of somebody that's getting out of a bad situation, and then they're surrounded by that bad situation, the people that kept them in it, their friends, their family, whatever, and then they'll pull them back down into it, right? Yeah. Somebody just gets out of rehab and they'll offer to take them drinking immediately. Well, that's crabs back in the bucket. So this shit's all around you, and it's your friends and your family and all this. So this can be a lonely journey. It's a lonely journey until you figure your shit out. When you get assertive enough to be confident enough to walk in your own shit, that's when it is. It's when you're not attached to any other particular human being here present in your life. That's really what it's about. But also, again, emotionally governing all this shit. So this idea of propaganda is very valuable because it hits you right in the feels, right? It gets you, school shootings and stuff like that. I don't know how deep you guys want to go on this, but I don't think kids are ever killed, ever, not one. Now, they have crisis actors. They have all sorts of things that you can see. It is all over the news. These guys who are sitting there crying and everything like that. But what they won't show you is right before that, the guy laughing, cutting up, going, oh, okay, cool. Okay. All right. 5 seconds. Okay. And then he gets himself worked up and then he gets those tears going. And then he says, my baby just died. Bullshit. Right. What this does is it incentivizes you to then go pull any other crab down back in that bucket so that you give your gun up, so that you give your ability to protect yourself against a tyrannical government, but also against some dickhead that thinks that it's okay to come in and take your shit. This is a world of illusion, and propaganda plays right into it because, again, it's an emotional-based operation. Now, what Edward Bernays did really, really well was this. He flipped the script on a bunch of shit. Smoking's great, all these kind of things, right? Pregnant women, go for it. But mostly it's psychological warfare. And so Edward Bernays, his niece or his nephew, is now the owner and runner and CEO of Netflix. So the same dude that was doing all the things in the Nazi era to get people to be okay with Nazis running around and doing what they did, allegedly, is the same guy now telling you that the new Thor is out, right? So when you then think about where your energy goes, is where your attention goes, rather, is where your energy goes. Now, your attention, if you're paying a Netflix bill and you're watching Netflix's information, that's where all of your energy is going now. That's also what I think this place is a complete energy farm of sorts. And this is where we get into hell realm and all that shit. But really, your energy is what's the most valuable commodity here. That's why the rich people don't give a shit about being rich, not about money. It's about control. It's about energy. It's about loosh, as Dr. Monroe called it in one of his books. And it's this concept of that you extrude an energy. And whenever it's at a certain vibration, is why people are always like, vibe high, guys, vibe high. Well, maybe something to that. But what it really, I think, entails is that you're feeding the system of fear whenever you're doing this. But the system is designed to create fear in you. And it's this sort of death by 1,000 cuts thing. And it's more of a haunted house in a way. It's not really going to get you, but it's going to scare the fuck out of you to make you think that it's going to get you. Yeah. And that's the whole point. And what that produces is a palpable energy source of fear and of subjugation and of people policing themselves. And this is when the inmates are in the prison, don't even know it, right? Kind of a thing. So it's that evil presence of awareness that you get that I feel is the first step to breaking out of the prison, if there is a way out.
Yeah.
But
can I just ask, the saying, like, it feeds off your fear?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Is that just an analogy? Because I don't understand how something can feed off your fear. Because how it consumes the fear.
So
is the fear another type of energy, like that we can't see, and it uses that to make itself grow, make itself bigger and more powerful?
I'm going to say yes. So yes, and okay.
Yeah.
How I picture this, and I don't know for sure, man. Let me
No.
So what I will say is that you physically extrude an energy that you're unaware of, but it ripples out like ripples in a pond. Like think of your aura or Carillion photography. Are you familiar with that? Where they can take a picture of your aura, but they can take a leaf and cut it in half, remove that half, and the other half of the leaf is still in the picture. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
So there's an architecture to this place, right? But it's also about sending and receiving energies. So if you've got this energy body that's constantly emitting a vibe, right? Then really that's an energy source. You're also a source of electricity. You just can't measure it with your senses, right? That your obvious senses, but you're a battery essentially, right? So that changes and that palpates, right? But also adrenaline is a big thing. We've heard of adrenochrome, right? Which is released in animals, mammals specifically, whenever they get scared or frightened. This is a fight or flight response. And once that happens, it saturates the blood. And some people think it's delicious. Okay, so which would mean then that a system is created in which those people can still get that. Okay, so it's supply and demand. It would be then that if that exists and that's a palpable resource, which we're told is, and there is such a thing called adrenochrome. You can check it out.
Yeah.
And that's a very real thing. But what that really is a spiritual energy, right? At its core. There's also what semen is as well, the ichor, the golden juice, all that kind of stuff. This is the 33 vertebrae that chirp up to heaven, all those kind of things that has to do with semen and spinal fluid and all of that. So when you look at it then in a physical way, then that can be consumed because it's consumed by your body. But also, if you look at it at a spiritual level, we have to then redefine what it means for us for survival, right? So for us, we have to put things in our face, we consume the energy from that, and then we shit it out and we get energy as a result, right? But for something else, it may not have those physical processes that need to occur. But like plant life, for instance, it receives its energy in a different form than we're readily going to be able to relate to. But exactly. So think of it as photosynthesis. Okay. It's you're putting this stuff out and something is picking it up because something is responsive to it. And I think the system actually runs on this right now. If this is 1,000 years after Jesus is Satan's season kind of a thing, maybe. But this idea though that there are things around us. I mean, we know this from the visible, invisible light spectrum, right? You can see fuck all as far as what's really going on. And then infrared and ultraviolet, there's all kinds of lights and things going on in that spectrum. Well, who's to say that there aren't beings in that spectrum that that are right here? And there's probably shit all around you that you can't see, but it would terrify
definitely
the game, right? But if their job is to run the game, but the game needs something to run on, then you would be the thing it ran on, but you'd be unaware of it at a level, right? Ideally, you wouldn't figure it out. The Sims ideally don't figure out that they're a video game character, right?
Yeah.
But you might be. And there might be some feeding off you. Yeah.
So we're feeding, i.e. food, drink, and that's, if we are the batteries, then that's just, we're recharging ourselves without actually knowing we're doing it.
Well, you feed the cows before you eat them. Yeah. You take good care of those cows before you eat them. But the cow's not aware of its purpose, right? But let's say that then it's a little too reductive to just murder us for food because that's not the way they consume. Maybe that's not how they eat, man. If they did, this would be a populationless thing. We'd all just be murdered and enslaved, right? But if they feed on fear, if it's an energetic exchange, that changes things. Now they have an invested interest in keeping the type of vibe here that they prefer to feed on, terraform their place with that. So you'd infect these sort of mind parasites, right?
Well, you've got the fear frequency. I can't remember what the actual frequency is. Maybe that is what they consume.
Could be, and this could be
frequency in it.
Yeah, and this could have to do with the moon. This could have to do with all kinds of stuff, right? The Saturn moon matrix, the black hole sun, all this stuff. It could just be a parasite running around that then animates human bodies, as these vessels and just takes them over. Sort of that Black Eye Club, the Vril. If you've ever seen any of that, all those, they have compilations of all these famous people, influential people is what I'll say. And they all have a black eye. And some people say, just somebody punches them. How often you get hit, right? How often, you talking shit to somebody enough to get hit. The other thing is they're always usually the left eye, which is interesting. which they, I think, do on purpose so that it could be told that more people are right-handed, so it was a right hook. But really, there is all this stuff. Hitler's Vril Society and all that had to do with this. That's what they were funding on the side. Was this idea of the Vril and this energy, but what if it's a physical parasite? What if it's a worm? And there's terrifying things you can look up online about this. And you put it in your eye, right? And when you accept this thing, and now it's more of a hive mind of influentials that have all the resources, we'll call it money, but resources. And then they, air quotes, are the ones really running this, but really it's individuated consciousnesses of the same mind that's acting as one thing. They're all in cahoots, kind of like Hail Hydra. You know, they sort of whisper into each other's ears because they're all on the level.
Yeah, because black eye, it's technically, well, it's a bruise. It's just blood going to the surface of the skin. And if that's feeding from the flesh of the human, then that's what it's going to cause. And like you said, what if that parasite is a connection to the actual fear itself? Then that's is it consummation? Is that a word?
Yeah.
If not, it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look at, here we go. Okay. This right here is kind of an example of what I was talking about. And you may recognize a few of those faces on there. This one I was pretty disappointed about. I like him.
Oh.
Huh.
Yeah, there's a few people on there that I was not expecting.
Yeah.
There's a lot on there that I did, but not the bottom right or the top right.
Okay, now warning for anybody who is a little squeamish or something like this. I'm going to show you an image that trips me the fuck out, but here you go. This is sort of the example of the Vril. And this is what they're talking about when they say this. And oh, that's interesting. I would never have thought, right? But you have all of these ideals to where this is really what's going on. And then you see this as a coincidence. I think these are great questions to ask is all. Like, why would all of them have this? And it also correlate to what Hitler's crew was running around doing with all the secret shit.
Right. Yeah,
It's
I remember when the Pope had a black eye. Because I know
you really had that coming.
Yeah. And there's no explanation for it or nothing, was there, on that one?
They have an explanation, but is it a satisfactory one is your question, right? Just because they say something, does it make sense to you? Does it ring true to you? Does it seem plausible? Especially when they're all added up and grabbed together and put into one photo like that. It puts things into perspective.
Yeah.
The answer to life is the mastery of questions.
With people like glitching, like all the celebrities.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Katy Perry. Shit, I have seen that.
Yeah.
Wild, right?
Stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe their Vril was just taking a shit or something, or it was like, in the other room and had to run back to his little position to drive her during the concert again. But yes, it is interesting. But then you bring into this clones and things like this as well. Like, who's to say, number one, any of us are real at all? And number two, who's to say that any of us have this, what we would call a soul? That could all be an algorithm that's programmed into us to feel that this is what's going on to make the game occur a certain way. Then, you could say, well, then are any of us tap into a bull with the example of the Vril that we just had there? It seems like a physical parasite can make that happen, but can you get, let's say, possessed, like by an entity, by a spirit? Maybe somebody's feeding off of your fear and just goes, ugh, and falls in you, maybe that can happen. Who the fuck knows? And then drives you around for a little bit, just as confused as you are. Then you have walk-ins. You have all of these examples of people, near-death experiences, all of this, of people yeeting out of their body and then either them or something else coming back, and it being pretty fluid process, especially people who astral travel. They can tell you all day that this is just something they can do in a nap. So this being such a fixed place, I think is very interesting, but as well that we take for granted that the eyes of all the things that you're looking at are what we would call human. Anything could be driving that damn thing, anything. Because if you take this into consideration, it could be anything.
A lot of people say that about, I mean, I don't know what your stance is on things like that, but people say that about like Britney Spears and things. She's a big one for it in the media, or well, not sort of mainstream media, but social media. She, there's a lot of theories around her and Avril Lavigne.
Yeah, but they're trying to say
there's a lot of theories about
Britney's not Britney. She's got a completely different voice. Even if she had work done, she probably won't look like that.
But they also say that she's a filter, like it's a stand-in, and then they put a filter and AI over her.
I have seen a couple of videos where it looks like the filter slips and it doesn't look like her. But then I think, why? What motive have they got? What's running there? What's running them doing that?
Why are they needing to put a filter on her? Why can you not see the real her?
Well, why clone a star? Why do that? Let's answer that question. What do you guys think about that? Why would you want to clone Avril Lavigne, for example? Why would you clone that young woman? Why is the one that we see now not the one that we think was originally?
So the
first theory is that she died.
She died, and they replaced her with a stand-in.
But why?
Because she was so big at what she was doing at the time that obviously they wanted to carry on making money from it, so they needed to keep it going.
Then maybe it's that simple. Have you thought about that?
The other option. I mean, I don't know really. I don't have a full stance on this. As I don't for many things, very open to everything.
As you should be. I love that. That's the best way.
Yeah.
Exactly. I am very. I think out loud.
Same. Yeah.
Open. I sometimes wonder, what if cloning was a thing, and these celebrities kind of have had enough of doing what they do. Are they bored? Are they tired? Have they paid for someone to carry on their job, to carry on doing what they do for them, make them their money?
They want a normal life.
If I had enough money to pay someone who looked like me to go in and be a midwife, they can do that. Feel free, go ahead, do my job for me, earn me the money.
You nailed it.
Like, do it.
That's beautiful perspective. Now, it's not to say the clones don't exist and they're probably used for nefarious reasons, right? But that is the most practical answer, right? Because of money, right? The silliest thing of all. If you are a record company, you've got a vested interest in a product called Avril Lavigne, it just happens to be a human being, allegedly, then you would have a vested interest in ensuring that investment returned the investment that you wanted. So you would absolutely have a couple of stand-ins ready to go. But for a larger reason, and what Avril Lavigne allegedly happened was she got tired of it. She said, I'm done playing this same song 40 times to these same dickheads. I'm over it. And then, of course, the record label said, no problem, mutually exclusive. We're going to pay you out. Here's all your money. We're going to keep making money on you. And it's mutually beneficial for everybody. This also could be what happened to Tupac, right? He said, I'm done with all this shit. I'm out. And then you just fake your own death and you leave. But also you could just keep the brand going, because how many people are really going to notice? And then even if they do, they don't care because it's catchy, man. I love that. I bop to it. Come on. When I'm cleaning house, I just put it on. They love it. They don't care if it's ever or not.
Well, we talked about musicians, Michael Jackson. This has got to be the one, right? So don't know how many people are aware of this.
And Elvis.
With Michael Jackson, when he was doing his comeback, when he was skint, and his skint to my skint are two totally different things. They had the clause in the contract for all these, was it 90 or 100 gigs that he was going to do around the world, that the only way that you could not get your money back from a ticket was if the artist died. You can look it up. It's on the internet. It's everywhere. And then all of a sudden, everyone pays the money. So many billion or $100 million, whatever it was, and the artist dies. You've got all that money.
Off to some island.
Something like 70-80% of that money. He gets that money.
Go for
You can do what you want.
On him.
He's already had that much plastic surgery. No one really knew what he looked like anyway. You can vanish forever. And
I could see how you get tired of it. You know, and this is why it's important to pick a dream that you're not going to get tired of. You know, you don't think the Goo Goo Dolls, don't want to stop playing that song in 6/8. That give it. They are tired of it, dude. They praying for their bus to roll. And Nicole knew. There you go. Shout out. But I would think you'd get tired of it, and then I would think you'd want to do something else. So faking your death would be a good way to do this. I think Paul McCartney that really died in 67, right? Something like that. And then they replaced him for the reason of psychosis for the masses, right? But I think it was also a business move for sure.
Have you guys seen the theory that Taylor Swift is a clone?
Yeah, the daughter of the Church of Satan. Yeah.
This
Anton LaVey.
Christina LaVey, And
I don't know if I can get on board with that one.
I don't know. That's weird, but she is on another level famous.
She's
and you got to think about that,
tour.
right? Okay, here you go. I got it pulled up.
But then you've got the Eminem one, where he's very non-human. When he sat in, like watching the boxing and the basketball, baseball, what other sports that he goes, what, and he's just sat there like there's nothing coming from him. There's no energy. He's just sat there doing nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So either daughter or clone or whatever, but like
Xena LaVey.
Mm-hmm.
That's her too. I don't know. Looks pretty damn. And then there's the idea of templates, that we are in a simulation, and that actually there's all the famous people have been recycled. And of course, you know, Stephen Colbert is one of these, Keanu Reeves, I think Justin Timberlake, all these people they found. Peter Dinklage, the smaller guy, he has been that size in a few different lives. Yeah. So it's like these characters, you know, that keep popping up in a realm just to sort of add some color to it, maybe some challenge, maybe steer things in a certain way, motivate things in a certain way. Because I think ultimately that's what 2020 did. I don't think it was some declaration of some totalitarian state that was ready to just lock us down. I think it was initiating shadow work so that we could then really figure out and break up what we were doing. And you either drank yourself to death or you stopped drinking completely and started writing a book and ended up on my podcast or started a podcast or something like that, right? I feel it was a really motivating feature of our realm to have that happen for sure.
See, when you talk about like the recycling of characters, it makes me think of like a video game and how the NPCs in like every town are basically the same, just with different clothes on.
Have you thought about that? The NPC rabbit hole? Have you looked at it in your own life? Have you walked into a store where no one is on an aisle and no one's there, and then all of a sudden 3 or 4 people show up on the aisle? Where your realm will all of a sudden get more populated with you in it?
Yep.
It's wild.
I've gone down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So one thing that happened to me, I'll just say quickly, people, I know people in chat have heard it. I was driving a few months ago, pulled up a set of traffic lights. There's a woman stood about 10, 12 foot away from me, completely still, not moving. She had a dog on a lead, poo bags on the tied to the lead. They were blowing in the wind. The dog was like a black Labrador, say, and she was literally right opposite, not moving. Thought, oh, she's waiting for someone else with a dog, so she's waiting for them to pass so the dogs don't kick off. Looked in the mirror, looking behind, no one about. Didn't have any earbuds in. She wasn't on the phone. There's nobody else about. There's no other cars on the road. One car went past me because I was on a left filter. I was ready for putting the window down and shouting, "Are you okay?" And she's just completely still. You could see full side profile. I was like looking at her eyes and her mouth to see if she was actually breathing. So the lights went on green, but it was a bit of because it was a solid 90-degree turn, the turning was a bit further than light. So if there's a truck coming round, it wouldn't swing out and wipe the car out the side of it. As I got to the point of turning, I looked out my passenger window. She's 150 yards down this footpath. There's no way she got from there to there in less than 2 seconds, because that's all it took me to get round to the bend. So
it's like she'd glitched. Have you seen? Has anyone seen Westworld?
And she was facing the opposite direction.
It reminds me of that.
Westworld's an interesting one, because then you go through a point in your spiritual awakening where you will feel like one of the robots that gets constantly raped, and then your memory wiped whenever you're killed, and then they just put you back in the game again so that some rich piece of shit can come in and do it again. You'll get to that point, but hang in there. You're going to get through it too.
Think about it. What if that's like, know how we have past life experience memories? What if it's just us? We've been put back in the game.
Well, essentially, that's what they say. But you're the one that puts you back in the game. You're the one that killed you. You're the one that, you know. I don't know how much I buy all that. I think that's pretty.
What if it's just a memory glitch from a previous
the
program?
memory thing doesn't sit right with me, but I'm curious about you guys. Why do you think that we forget every time we incarnate? If incarnation is a thing, and this is sort of a school, and we're learning and growing and all those things, spiritually developing, why do you think we forget every time we come in?
So that those decisions don't impact these decisions, so that we're not influenced by anything that we've experienced before.
If you did do that, you'd be a biological time machine.
But also, you would constantly be thinking about your past life or trying to reconnect with people you've known in a past life. You wouldn't be in this life.
You'd be trying to alter everything that's gone on, and that's why I said time machine, because that is basically what you would be. Or a dimensional time machine. Depends how you look at it.
Do you guys see this place as a school? Do you think that we're learning here?
No.
We're here to learn and grow? What do you think we're doing here?
I would like to think that. I'd like
to think that, but I don't know.
We've been abandoned. We're abandoned. We've been left.
It's a dumping ground.
That's what I think. I've
the
always
Australia of the realm. Yeah.
We've been left behind.
I used to think it was. I used to think it was a learning facility, but I'm really quite away from that at the moment.
But then I get on the thing.
The more I talk to you guys, the more I talk to you guys and people like you, the more I think it's not actually what we believe. It's not actually what we are led to believe it is.
And it's just not even close.
But with you saying, going back to the beginning of it with the synchronicity, maybe the synchronicity is whatever's going on, it's that way of telling us what is really going on without a definitive answer.
Are we not just study subjects though? Is the learning for us or is it for something else? Like, do you know what I mean? We're not getting anything out of it. We think we are, but I don't think it's for us.
But was it you, Brandon, that said, I don't know if it was you when you was on pause that said this, that the mind and the soul, or the spirit and the soul, are two separate things?
I've heard multiple body. It may not have been me. May not have. I don't think so. I know though people who speak about a breakdown and identify, and they start to label the different bodies, like the physical body, the spiritual body, the mental body, and things like this. And they'll talk about the relationships. And this could be sort of how we're schizophrenic in a way, is that we have different needs wrapped up in the same thing. Our soul wants to experience everything we can here, but our body needs food and to shit and to sleep every now and then, you know? So there is this sort of, you've got to fulfill these needs of not only your nervous system, but also what your soul wants, allegedly. And so as you're dancing in this process, it's really more of a perpetual balancing act, because it feels here that really, to me, and then the time I've been here, is that your job here is just to balance this shit, not to really achieve and experience what you feel you're going to by balancing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's not the reason. It's the motivator.
So what if we learn how to shut the different bodies down and just, I don't know, blend all of them into one?
That's sort of the idea of the psychedelics.
I was going to say, will that then take us down the psychedelic route? Because my belief is, and I've said this numerous times, and it's one theory that I'm sticking with, when you have an encounter, to say these all four of us right in the field walking, and one of us sees a UFO, none of the others do, and we go over and touch it, and it's physical, we can feel it, we can hear it, we can see it. Maybe it's not physical, but it's going on in there. But even though it's going on in there, you are still experiencing it regardless. It's still a real thing. You're going through the trauma, you're going through the emotions and everything else. So if it's going on in there, then it is psychedelic, because it's not a physical object. So you are still having that encounter regardless that you three don't see what I'm seeing.
This is Jacques Vallée, who else? Terence McKenna, Blue Book guy, Hynek. They all kind of got to this point with this theory, is that it's a psychosemantic one. And this is kind of where I'm at with this, not only that part of the theory, but the entire realm. It's a psychosemantic one. It is very, it's a tailored realm, tailored to you, and it's more of an augmented reality. It's where there are things that we would call trees, but really they're just sort of props with electrical properties that mimic trees, but we each see that tree differently. We each notice different parts of the tree, and it appears and we experience our realms differently, even though we're told again that we're in the same place, having the same experience, or we're led to believe that. But that's one of, I think, one of the biggest hurdles to get over, because then that's jarring, right? That's a lot of personal responsibility. That's a lot of shit. Well, it's all up to me. That's a lot of, I can't outsource my anger and pain anymore. I have to really take it on, feel it, experience it, alchemize it, and move through it. That sucks. That's maybe it's all about me, and this is a hell realm, and other people will get to go ride in UFOs, but I won't. But you got to be okay with that. It's a mind fuck, honestly. I think this entire thing is mental. It's Romans 12:2. It's about the mind, and that's it. And I think the faster we can come to that understanding, the easier your life gets. It doesn't get less nauseous, and it doesn't get simpler, but it gets easier, because then you just have an acquiescence to it. You're just, okay, you get a little more cancer with it. You get more in the flow.
Yeah. Just jumping back to trees. Now, this happened today, and it happened on an investigation that me, Sarah, and the girls and Darren and Cy did a while ago. So we were staying in the hotel last night. We walked down to McDonald's this morning to get breakfast. Now, Simon, I'm 5'10". Simon's what? 6'2", 6'3"? He's nearly half a foot taller than me. So we're walking down, we're chatting down the side of the road, go to McDonald's, have something to eat, come back. As we're walking back up, we're having to duck under these trees. Same path. We went this exact same route there and back. And we're having to duck under the branches on these trees, yet we'd walked it 20, 30 minutes earlier, and we didn't have to duck. Do you know what I mean? And it just, we both was like, this wasn't here before. And it's just
may have hit a portal, mate. That happens. You hop into these portals, and you slip into some other dimension, man, and then you're just somewhere else, and that's it.
Yeah. So it just, we both clocked it straight away, and it made no sense whatsoever. That was just what you mentioned in the tree thing.
Yeah.
And that's twice. That's happened.
It's a wild realm, I will say that. It's getting more interesting. Are you guys experiencers at all? Anybody here? Do you guys have the freaky woo-woo running around in your lives, like paranormal, or been scooped up by a UFO, or guided by Pleiadians, or anything cool?
I've seen not what I believe was a Nordic or a Pleiadian in a shopping centre in the UK, outside McDonald's, believe it or not. Well, McDonald's seems to pop up quite a lot in this.
What if it was just a Scandinavian guy and from down the road there visiting?
It was a female. She was about 6'2", short, white, not blonde hair, but white hair, piercing crystal blue eyes, really pale white skin. Stood out above everyone else. We're deciding, the group of people that was with, deciding what was going to get to eat. Turn around chatting. We was on like a junction bit in the shopping centre. Turn around, talk, 2 seconds, turn back. The person had gone. I would have seen them whatever direction they was walking, because they was like a foot taller than everyone else in there. It was a Saturday afternoon, so it was quite busy. Unless they'd ducked into a shop, I don't know where they went. But I was literally staring right at them, like, because it was like out of place. They didn't make eye contact with me, even though I was watching everything that they was doing, and then they've gone. So that's happened. Yeah.
Nicole?
I do paranormal investigating, so I'm more on the ghost side of things and the spirit side of things. So,
have you been contacted?
Yeah, I've had some weird stuff happen. I have like a shadow man in my house that we've seen a couple times.
Okay. Hundreds of orbs.
But I don't know how much stock I put in orbs, It's orbs. But the shadow man was pretty convincing.
Is it like the hat and everything, or?
Yeah, it's the hat man. I mean, I don't know if it's a hat man, as they refer, but it's a shadow figure with a hat. Because he doesn't seem like, an evil, threatening, ominous kind of entity like the hat man's supposed to be.
And that's subjective, right? A lot of people see Bigfoot run scared, and then some people see Bigfoot and they're like, sweet, coming out, and they start giving him peanut butter and stuff. It's really interesting.
Yeah. Who decided that Bigfoot likes peanut butter?
Yeah, I don't know, but people that I know out in Georgia, Sheila and Scott Granger, they run Squatch Fishing Outfitters, and they do local expeditions and things like that. They took us out on our adventure when we were out there for our event, and they say that they'll like leave a jar of peanut butter on their bumper of their Jeep right behind them at the fire around the fire or whatever, and then they'll leave to go get something 5 minutes later and it's gone. And they'll take it and actually open it up and everything, and they can just do this. And they have all these fascinating stories, as well as they have terrifying stories of Bigfoot doing the spider crawl. And it's where Bigfoots can crawl on their fingers and toes, like this far off the ground, like 2 feet off the ground, as low as they can lay down, and they do it real fast, right? So you see this huge hairy thing just go, right? And it's this spider crawl, and allegedly it's sort of like the indigenous tribes. That was one of the bigger things, to see how badass they would go up to their enemy and cut the hair, and then
signal gone.
Ooh.
Is the signal gone?
Yeah.
He's froze.
Froze. He got too close to the truth.
Ooh. Don't want to
down.
do that. Well, we are coming up to the end now anyway.
Yeah. I'm going to be heading in a minute.
I think this has definitely got to be a part 2, possibly part 3, because we've not even touched the surface with this. It's like not even got to the psychedelic part, and that was
we could talk about this.
Looking forward to.
But we
I might use the little window of opportunity.
He's back. He's back.
Did that thing glitch out? We have some storms coming through here right now.
Completely went then.
Oh, okay. Did I freeze on a funny face? Was like,
you did.
It was good. It was good.
It was a good one.
Right, Sarah's got to go because she's up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
That's okay. God bless you, Sarah.
Good luck with that.
Godspeed.
It's about time anyway, right? We have one question.
Yeah.
Oh, I just saw the chat. Hi, guys. Thank y'all for hanging out.
This question is from Fred Flintstone. Hi, Brandon. Do you think the explanation for the paranormal phenomena is that we are living in some kind of simulation, which we talked about a little bit? But
I think really the answer to this question depends on your worldview. It is going to be subjective. Do I think it's possible that that could be evidence for you if you feel that we live in a simulation, that that's evidence of a simulation? Absolutely. I think there's definitely something weird going on here, and we'll use whatever we can conceptually to frame this. And that's going to lead us to RAS. Great question. Thank you so much, Fred Flintstone. RAS is an acronym for your reticular activating system. And there's a bundle of nerves in everybody's mind up there that you have. It governs 4 functions, but mainly it's melatonin and a couple others. But what I focus on that, why it's important for this conversation, is perception. Because perception is everything. This, again, if it's a mind fuck, if energy goes where attention goes, then what your perception is or what you're seeing is going to dictate and determine what you choose to spend your energy and focus on, right? So this is why it's important for whoever's running this shit, trying to do what we call perception management. So they know about your RAS and how it functions. And now you will too, so that you can be aware of it at least. RAS, when it comes to perception, the clinical definition for this, you can look it up. The science behind this says that it filters out useless information as to highlight or present useful information. Now, the 2 words in there that should ring bells and tell you that it's a free for fucking all is useful and useless, because that's subjective. That's determined by you. You may think snakes are horrible and you really need to be scared of them. And so you're going to see snakes everywhere because it's a fear thing and you've got to see it. Make sure they're on your radar so none slip by you because you're terrified of it. Some people may love snakes. You think of Steve Irwin, he was looking for him to hug on him, right? So your reality is completely dictated by this, I think this function mainly, especially the way that you make choices, your habits, your engagements, your cytokine releases, your choices, all these things. So when you look at it this way, then the way that you look at your world, that Dwayne Dyer quote, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. This is absolutely true. You can do this on a micro scale. If you've ever been shopping for a car, the example I use is blue Tesla, because this one's easy. Okay, you don't maybe see a bunch of blue Teslas around in your world, but the second you start shopping for one, you are going to see them fucking everywhere. Now, the question is did you manifest a shitload of blue Teslas everywhere because you had it on the mind? Therefore, it's going to pop up in your reality, right? Manifested, or were there always that number of blue Teslas around? You just didn't pay attention to it. Okay. Another example of your RAS at work, which we could all agree with. I'll go ahead and agree with this one. It filters out the tip of your nose. Did you know the tip of your nose is perpetually visible to every single one of us? You can all see the tip of your nose, but your mind gets rid of it for you because why? We'd all agree. I know now everybody sees it. I know.
Yeah.
But we would all agree that that's probably useless information. We don't need it in our day-to-day. I don't need to spend energy being perpetually aware that that is in my field of view, right? So your mind, in this example, does you a favor, right? Does you a solid. But think about all the times your mind thinks it's doing you a solid because you've told it what you want to see and what you believe is possible for you in your reality. But it's filtering out things that you really want, which would be where manifestation comes in. All this really is about changing that. And really what it has to do with is two things: your expectations, your reality, your experiences and perceptions. That's it. Your paradigm and experiences, those two things. That's it.
Yeah.
But what you have experienced in this life, which is very unique to you, nobody else has experienced your life at all, plays into what you believe is possible here, your paradigm, what you think is going on, right? What's possible. So if you think when you have an encounter with something fantastic that it's Jesus or angels, that's what you're going to see, dude. If you think that it's aliens, then maybe that's what you see, right? Even though it may be the same phenomena or nothing at all, it's a psychosemantic thing at any level. This is why I'm saying it's all a free-for-all. It's all up to you. No blues look the same to anybody. No reds look the same. Nobody tastes food the same. Nothing is the same here, but we're all very okay with pretending that it is. And that's fascinating. So reticular activating system, where it becomes useful to know about this information is not only are you now aware of how you work, right? A little bit better. You can say, wow, yeah, the things in my life, people not in a relationship that are looking to get in a relationship, you'll see all your friends just like start getting in these relationships, right? And you won't. So this is a part of this process. But again, I think it's fairly participatory, meaning that you're an engaged partner with it. So I sort of think at a level, if I could pick a preference for how this place operates, I could see you being more of a director and actor, sort of like you choose what you want to do and then you act out the scene as you directed it, but not the specifics and nuances, because the actor can't know that, because that ruins the experience. But it's very jarring and it's shifting constantly. So again, when you can really apprehend your RES or your reticular activating system, this is where you start removing things like life sucks or everything's against me, because you really will see everything go against you, because you're programming that bundle of nerves in your mind to only see useful things, which is that everything's against you. So it's going to be this confirmation bias that reinforces in your life. But if you were to swap that out for opportunities, I only see opportunities in my life, how would your world change, right? That's where it's empowering. That's where you can take this and say, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to choose to recalibrate my RAS. One of the best ways to do that is pattern interruption, by the way. I have this little thing. And
I'm just gonna say that I'm gonna slip off.
Yeah, not without this. I'm gonna send you off, Sarah. You ready? You ready? Okay. This is a little fart maker that I keep on me. And I will set this out at the grocery store because it's pattern interruption. This is neurological gold right here, right?
All
right, Sarah.
Now.
Yep. It's in the mail.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If I wasn't up so early, I would be staying.
That's okay.
Come back on. Come back on.
Well,
I will absolutely. And thank you for having me. You guys are wonderful.
See you later, guys.
See you later, Sarah. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So that pattern interruption thing is very important because it takes you out of this ability to be hijacked so easily. It takes you out of this unconscious just pattern and rhythm where you're getting Edward Bernaysed and programmed and propagandized to in this very passive flow state. But it's not in a flow of action and direction. It's in a flow of indifference. Like you just don't care. And that's when you get to the Cheshire quote, from Alice in Wonderland. If you don't know where you're going, any road will lead you there. And so this is also where it's very important just to know where you want to go, know what you're all about. And then know, though, once you decide that, you're going to get hit with a shitstorm of things that don't agree with that. And then your job is just to resolve and keep moving forward. But train that RAS because it's very important, and play with this, right? Do it maybe with some music or a color or something like that. You can start really training your mind to see different things. But one of the best pattern interruption tools is to do your age in push-ups every single day. And I know that sounds absolutely silly. However old you are, do that number of push-ups every single day for at least 21 days, by the way. This will reset your nervous system. It also gives you a little bit of confidence for some reason. I don't know why. It doesn't get you super jacked. But what it will do is it offers you an opportunity to indulge in something that sucks, honestly. I never wanted to do it when I did it. But it's the thing that changed. It's the way that I was able to snap myself out of this loop, because it had nothing to do, I thought. It had everything to do, but it had nothing to really do with the things I wanted to change. What I wanted to change was my ability to be disciplined and resolved through something, right? And so I just set some weird pattern interrupting goal of my age and push-ups. It was my age and push-ups, sit-ups, and lunges every single day. So I just did 40 sit-ups, 40 push-ups, 40 lunges every single day for a long time, and it just changed everything, man. But it only took 21 days to really shift incredibly powerful things with just the way that I saw my world with that simple, innocuous activity.
Yeah, because it's like you said, it's that little change can change everything.
Yep, change it up.
Yeah.
Pattern interrupt, because your RAS has been programmed and ticked at. You've reinforced it a lot with agreeing with it and agreeing with any kind of disempowering, small-minded thinking that others may have been casting on you. And we all do this as kids, you know, we all grow up with shit.
Rut, don't you?
Yeah, you can. I mean, the rut's formed, but stuck in is a choice, right?
Yeah.
But it's easy. But again, all this stuff that we're talking about, simple, not easy. So this shit flows off the tongue. This is an ongoing battle for me. I have no real answers here. We're just talking shit. I have no clue what's going on.
Yeah.
I have ideas, not beliefs. That's it.
It's all talking shit.
Well, that's it. What is it you say, Nicole, if you haven't got a guest?
I don't know. There are a lot of things. We bullshit.
We can bullshit for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Well, not in a bad way. Just talk, and what comes out.
Yeah, absolutely. Shoot the shit.
Like that. It's more like organic than, okay, we're going to talk about this for 10 minutes, and then we're going to move on to this. Like, just see what comes up.
Yeah, and that's why I never write anything down. Nothing. I might write things down during taking notes from like books and websites and all that kind of stuff for my own personal information. But that's it. That's for me, not for anyone else.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah, that's why I say, like you guys, that's why I have conversations, not interviews. I don't schedule interviews at all. I conversate.
I don't like the word interview. It's just too.
It's too rigid, man. Nobody's fun of that. You know, the guest doesn't like it. You don't like it. It's too. The audience may be used to that, and so there may be some pushback when an actual conversation comes about, and there's a free flow where the host has a few more things to say or an equal amount of things to say to the guest. But that's just that's just a habit. People are just used to that. In the same way they got over the fact that we're not all sitting in a studio together. We're all in our own little homes in our Zoom boxes, and they're fine consuming, content that way. In the same way, they'll also see the value.
Yeah. We're
all the worst.
In our own environment.
What was it, Nicole?
So those interviews are the worst ones. Like, how did you get started? And what do you do? And what is it? Like, talk.
I had to fight myself to get out of that box, and just when I first started, you're gonna do, what's your scariest encounter? What do you think this is? What do you think that is? Where did it all begin? And it's like, no, because they've answered that question a million times. They're more bored of it than you could ever believe. I want to know why you're still doing it. What keeps you ticking?
Yeah.
What's that thing, that the mechanism that keeps you going?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. The little tiny details that no one really talks about.
Love it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's the best bit.
Yeah, you want to make like a genuine connection with your guests, or with a host if you're on a show.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Yeah, and that's why when me and Brandon first started talking, when he was on Paul's show, I was sat there. Joanne knows this. A few other people in the chat. I actually had the message ready for when the show finished on Truth Proof. As soon as it finished, I just pressed send. I had a full paragraph written out, just send, because I thought, I cannot let this one slip. It's just the energy and the detail and just the whole concept of everything you go into. Because like you were saying before, you're not worrying about, well, if I say flat earth, you're going to get all these 100,000 people contacting me and going, like going crazy on me, what have you. It's like,
I don't worry about shit. Anne Frank wasn't real, by the way. The ballpoint pen she used to write that journal. Yeah, the ballpoint pen she used to write that journal wasn't invented until 5 years later.
What?
Boom. Yeah. Take that and run with it, people. Enjoy.
Oh, now they gotta Google.
Yeah, but it's like everything's got to be out of the box. If it's in the box, keep it shut. seal it, bury it, get rid of it, throw it out at sea. I don't care. I don't want it. I want out the box every single time. And I want real life, organic theories that will change in 2 minutes or 2 days or 2 weeks.
This is why
keep forever.
But you've nailed it. That's sort of the motivation here, is that curiosity, right? That ever seeking. What if we got all the answers? Would you be happy?
See, Nicole, I told you. This is my.
I want to know.
This is my.
You want to know from a place of not knowing, but once you had all the answers, you had your cake and you can eat it. How do you feel afterwards?
The cake is probably pretty good, so I'd be happy.
But then that's it. No more cake.
Yeah, no more cake.
That's what I said.
Then you find something else.
This is the deal, though, with this. I'm with you. I know. Yeah, maybe you go try a muffin next time. Maybe just go on a diet. I don't know. Stop eating cake, do something else. But maybe, and that's the thing, right? It's this idea of discovery. And this is why when we get to the conversation about time and time travel and all that kind of stuff, that you get to the points where time probably doesn't exist everywhere. It's probably only useful here. And I say here, and whatever this experience is, simply because of change, right? That's what we're really here, I think, to look at as well. That's one of the biggest things that occurs with the introduction of something called time, is because you could see change over duration. You could see not only that, yes, a seed will turn into a flower, but what does it look like as it turns into a flower? And then you have that on a scale of animation for an entire realm, as all these things are changing in all these different circumstances. Throw in the fact that they're all making it up and seeing whatever the fuck they want to as reality anyway. It's a wild ride. It really is. But and that's why the saying that time isn't real, but timing is everything, right? That's beautiful. That's a beautiful sentiment. To sort of appreciate that, it's probably a tits up shit show here, but there's also waterfalls, and dogs. And I love my wife, and the relationships we're being able to form here, and really kind of conversations. And really what this has been all about is the one thing that we're trying to alleviate most by doing it, which is discovery. We're attempting to discover things, but it's micro bursts of discovery, which make it fun and continue. And that's the motivation, right? But eventually, if you had all the answers, I could see that maybe at a level getting boring, right? But that's what we're told anyway. I don't know. There are some days I could, like Nicole, I want to know everything. Yeah, I don't want to
know. I like the mystery, the enigma, the discovering, the finding out. Because what happens when we say you wake up one day and you find out everything, what exactly the connection is of life, the paranormal, why we're here, whether it's a glitch or it is a simulation, regardless of what it is, you find out all the answers. What is there after that?
Death.
For me,
you have to kill yourself.
Absolutely nothing. There's going to be nothing. There's nothing.
Think of where we are now, where we see things so obvious, patterns of behavior. Think of a lot of full generations of people just don't fucking get it, right? And then think of that as somebody who gets it on 100% of the level. There's no more fun in it. There's no more discovery. Like, you wouldn't want to be here. And so maybe it is a case of once that is achieved, if that's even a thing, you're just not here. That's why that omnipresent sort of information of how to do everything isn't present here, because that's not what this is about. It's about discovery. It's about strife. It's about feelings and emotions and riding that roller coaster, feeling as shitty as you possibly can. And then the next moment as happy as you possibly can, and everything in between. And it's just a ride. Like Bill Hicks says, my show opens with a comedian named Bill Hicks. And it just says it's a choice between love and fear. And sometimes it fucking sucks and it's scary and you want to get off the ride. And sometimes it's amazing and you couldn't imagine riding any other ride. And that's the ride.
As soon as you realize what ride you're on, it changes the whole concept of
100%. It has to. It
completely changes.
Because that's
what happened to me. Like I said, within the last 3 months, it's my eyes were open anyway, but now they just won't shut. And it's one of the best feelings I've ever had. And I don't ever want it to go. And I think if it was to find out everything, I'd be so disappointed with the outcome. That's why I don't want to know.
That's why
I want to know little bits. Just give me little bits. I'm happy with that.
Just the tip. That's why you're here, dude. That's it. You're here on a proclamation of discovery. And that's why it's perpetual, by the way. You may be the reason existence is existence at all, because you have questions and if you have questions, they must be answered. So what we're doing constantly is asking questions. So therefore universe is split off, and this is ad infinitum until we get those answered, or until we just stop asking. But
then
I don't see our disposition stopping.
Yeah, but when you ask specific questions, certain things just kind of stop, and then it opens up a completely new path.
It has to. Yeah, because now you're on a new path of discovery amongst the macro discovery. It's micro discoveries amongst the macro, which is one process of discovery the entire time. Which again is why it's limited, why we're mortal-ish or whatever, why time is a thing. It's got to be capped to make it matter. But you give it all the meaning, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And terrifying at the same time.
Yeah, but I just love it. I absolutely love it. You can't beat it. Cannot beat
bonkers.
It.
It is bonkers.
For me now, I know you still got to do everyday life and all that, but it's just so mundane. Not all of it, but a lot of it. The going out shopping, the things that I used to enjoy before I started to understand all this. It's like a lot of things seem pointless or irrelevant. I know it has to be done, but you'll be walking around, it's like, no, this isn't real. This is not real. This isn't what it's about. I just walk around smiling because I get it.
But it not being real, barely anyone seeing it, and you seeing it every now and then is what it's about.
Yeah. 100% that bang on. Yeah.
That's the whole thing. Like, who's to say what's real? It's all subjective. What's real to you isn't real to someone else.
100%.
And like somebody in a psych ward who's hallucinating things, that's real to them.
100%. Consensus reality is something I've argued quite a bit about. Quite a bit.
Yeah. So I love this stuff. Absolutely love it. You can't.
Where else do you want to go? What else? We got time, right? What else do you want to talk about?
We have got
9 minutes.
We've got 9 minutes.
Do you want to do a quick round? Let's do a speed round. Just throw them out. What do you got?
Right. Before we do that, would you be happy to come on and just do one on psychedelics? Nothing else. Just down that
we can do that. I won't be on psychedelics, but we can
talk
about it.
Yeah, but we'll
just
talk about it. Yeah.
You asked me to be on to do a show on psychedelics, which I can facilitate. Yeah.
Danny always
not physically.
I'll end up naked on the thing.
Off your head.
I'll end up naked talking out of my butt in the mic. That's what will happen if I'm on psychedelics. So we'll probably just talk about them.
Yeah, the context will be psychedelics.
Okay, that's
We'll see if
I would be
psychedelics for off air.
Right. I would be honored though. That'd be a lot of fun. Let's do it.
Yeah. Right.
All right, 9 minutes. Let's go. Throw out a topic.
Go on, you go first.
Past lives.
All right. Hey.
Interesting simultaneous lives could be all a trap for the soul or soul trap thing to make you think that there's more to this and there's really nothing more to this, maybe just avoiding this. And as a reason to come back here, you could say that you had past lives and therefore have business. Therefore, you have motivation to jump in that portal and try it again.
Okay. I'm going to throw a completely different tangent on it. Admiral Byrd, Ice Wall, Inner Earth.
Oh, I love this. So this is going to be another one too, and we're gonna have to go into like graphs and stuff like that. Let me
Sorry, it's not that quick, but I couldn't resist.
No, I love this, and I could not. I will figure out a blackboard by the next time that we get together. But I do want to pull something up. I was going to say
between us, we could create one and get it all set up ready.
Yeah.
My bad, guys. Did that audio come through?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Oh.
Good. It was really loud.
I'm confused.
Here we are. I was pulling something up and then some audio came through.
Oh, no, we didn't get that.
Fly. Okay. This is one of my favorite illustrations of sort of the realm that we live in ever. And whenever we talk about this idea of extraterrestrials and things like this, they may come from other, outside of whatever this is, but this seems to be sort of where I'm at with what's going on here. You have the North Star at the top. You have the sun and moon here that rotate with the black whole sun or the black sun that shines through the hole in the center of our realm, which was where Mount Kailash is located, which used to be an ancient tree that was cut down for many cool reasons. And then also pinging against the moon, which is also inside of our realm. I'm not going to say dome necessarily, but this energetic barrier. And that it is its own luminary, not illuminated by this. Yeah, these are actually just filters or lenses as well. So that's also where we get the Masonic symbolism from, is this connection of black sun, moon to North Star. And this is also where we get the swastika from, the rotating Big Dipper at the Polaris star as well. So this is one of my favorite things when we're talking about realm Earth and things like that. systems and whatever to view it this way.
Yeah, this is the road I'm going down with my
And
beliefs.
then picture one right here, and then picture one right here, and then picture one right here, and then one right here. And they're all connected. And maybe this is just one of your chakras, actually. And maybe this is a chakra system. Maybe this is the middle hemisphere of your brain. If you turn this sideways, and this is the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere, and you operate in a yin-yang pattern to where you reincarnate on one side or the other until you figure out balance, until it comes together. Fascinating shit, though. But when we get to like structure of realm and stuff like this, I'd love that kind of shit. That's a whole nother. Yeah, we got to go off on that. A whole nother deal.
Wow, that's just This is the stuff I love, and it's finding someone that knows what they're talking about. I
wouldn't say that. I don't think I know what I'm talking about at all.
That has the knowledge of where to find the information, I should say.
I can point to things and go, that's weird. You guys take a look at this. You guys think that's weird? I can kind of do that.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of weird shit here, to be fair.
Oh, yeah.
But I will say this, and we can actually we'll close on this because this is a very important point because we've talked about a lot here tonight. But the most important thing I think for all of this would be is to think about the word beliefs. And this is one that I really would just want to kind of, when we talk about RAS or reticular activating system, how you determine what's important and what's not for you, how that solidifies emotionally for you, in my opinion, is beliefs. There's a quote by Chris Rock, the actor Chris Rock, in a movie called Dogma. Dogma was a movie made in '99 by Kevin Smith. He did Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back and Mallrats and Clerks and all that stuff. But he made this one movie, Dogma, and George Carlin's in it and everything. In that, there's a line, and the character Rufus, played by Chris Rock, says, I don't have beliefs, I have ideas, because ideas are easier to change. And I heard that back in 1999, and it blew me away. That I grabbed onto as my belief, right? Is to not have beliefs is my belief. And really the one belief that I could say I do have is the concept of temporary truths, meaning that whatever you feel right now is absolutely fucking certain will fucking change. It has to.
Yes.
It has to. And so with this information, then you can sit there and say, okay, well, if that's going to change based on me, then I will change. And that's where the empowering part about all of this comes in. But where it really comes in is this inventory of beliefs. What do I believe that will make me keep me in this restricted, sticky, thick, stagnated, plateaued mindset? And those are usually the keys to your freedom right there. You hold the keys to your cell, and it's every belief that you have is one of those keys. And they unlock a lock. The second you unlock it, it stays in the lock, and then it locks behind you. And then somebody else can get in that door later, but you no longer need it. The idea of ideas is way more nomadic. It's way more fluid. It's with the world that we live in, with things changing constantly, with people asking things constantly, new things, all kinds of shit. Being fluid, and this again, cancer in energy, this more in flow, and releasing beliefs is really the way to kind of navigate this thing. I look at beliefs as people clinging to rocks in a river. People are flowing by the river of life or whatever, but a belief, you're hanging onto a rock while the river is trying to knock you off of it, and you're screaming that's just your life now. But the re-evaluation of beliefs, I feel, is the most important thing anybody can do. And this is while you're taking inventory of how your mind works, how your thoughts dictate your reality and what they actually are. Do you identify with them? Do you take that thought in and go, yep, that's my thought? Or do you go, what the fuck is that? That's not me. I don't agree with that. How conscious are people of what is streaming into their mind all the time? So this differentiation between beliefs and ideas, I feel, is paramount.
Yeah, totally. I was actually talking about that the other day, about the word belief and how it's misconstrued. Is that the word? So it's more, you even a bit different to what you've just said, but you even know or you don't know. But it's knowing at that point in time, that moment. Doesn't matter about before or after. It's that actual moment when you're thinking that thought.
Yeah, and then give yourself some fucking grace, man. We're all, every single one of us, doing the best we can with the information we have at the time. And this is one of my bones to pick with God eventually. It's two things. It's information and how we receive it and how it's offered, and then how we process it, or our ability to interpret it beneficially. Those two things are my biggest, oh God, we got to talk about that. But with that comes a freedom as well. I mean, it's empowering to navigate this place from a place of uncertainty. And that's sort of what I think that we're all being asked to do now, is this, moving forward with uncertainty, which is one of the most terrifying things ever. But what you can be certain of is that most of your reality is lying to you. And by its lying, it's not doing it to hurt you. It's doing it to motivate you into a new direction. So by seeing it like that, that's where your alchemy comes into play. That's where you can really grab it and say, this is why it's beneficial and powerful and useful for me now.
Yeah. And that's why, like I was saying before, I know I'm at a certain point where I know I need to do X, Y, Z and not A, B, C.
And you'll just kind of come across those, and then you'll be motivated to that, and then that'll lead you to some shit show, and you'll go, wow, why did I do that? But eventually it'll work. Yeah, it's a ride, dude. And keeping focused on it's a ride, especially when it's nauseating, is the most challenging thing, but it's also the most empowering thing. And I'm not great at it, guys. I'll say this, I speak a lot or whatever. I haven't had much grace over this in the past year and a half. I really haven't. I've been taking it really hard, and I've been kicking and screaming. I've been pissed. I've had voice in my head saying, you're going to kill yourself today for 3 months straight. That's not my voice, and I'm not suicidal, but I want people to be aware that it is a very real thing and that there are very real things going on out here, but also to know that none of us are in a position of sitting here telling you guys, this is how life works. And this is what I have no fucking clue. What I will do, though, is kind of explain and relate my observation of it. I think that we're all mapping a dark ass cave, and we all have tiny little flashlights. And whenever somebody says, I had this experience with this UFO, and somebody goes, no, you didn't. Well, you're not on that side of the cave, man. Maybe UFOs are everywhere over there, and they did see that. So why wouldn't we trust that that's what they're seeing? In the same way, this is kind of where I'm at with this and experiencing it, but it can be fucking dark. But I'm also not going to sit here and say that it's not dark and that it's all great. And that, there are days when I know it's dark and I'm great at it and I can fucking write in my journal and persevere. Fuck no. There are some days I just smoke weed all day and want to die. And I think that you got to have those days too. But to know that this is how how we're all going to feel at some point, and just to be okay with that, just take a deep breath, go easy on yourself. We're all doing the best we can with the information we have. So were your parents, by the way. And that's a whole nother rabbit hole.
Yeah. You need to shut down.
It's all psychology. It's all mental. The more you look into psychology, the better your life is going to be, just simply because it's being applied to you. They're just so great at it that you're mostly unaware of it. Let's end on this. The analogy of the game. Everybody in the chat's I just noticed that we had a chat a minute ago, so I'm seeing this. Jojo, I saw somebody mention Paul Askoff earlier, and so I'm going to shout him out.
Yeah,
love that man.
Tash and the missus.
Love Paul. Yeah, him and his wife. He just messaged me that they're on a cruise. Anyway,
he's always on a cruise. He's always on holiday. I tell you, every time I speak to him, he's in some hotel sunning it up.
Yes. So he's always. He's hey, we're doing this and this and this. It's beautiful. And then I was gonna say close on this, and I totally forgot what I was gonna say. Bring me back if you can. No, it's okay.
So you said about Paul Askoff.
Before that,
asked a question. Oh, before that.
Talking about psychology and how it's all like the mind.
It is all the mind. Yeah, so it's all the mind. So just get to know you and how you work. Know that you're going to work totally different than anybody else. Know that if cannabis works for you and other people judge you about it, don't worry about those other people. Live your life the way that you want to, and just be easy on yourself, because you are doing the best you can with the information you have at the time. So just go easy. It's a fucking ride, man. So enjoy it as best you can. And I'm here. Reach out if you guys need anything. And I hope some folks come over and check out the show. We have some incredible guests over there. That's like, I'd love that. It's way bigger than me, and I'm just grateful to be there and just kind of hang on for the ride. But wanted to also just thank you guys so much for this invitation to come on and talk shit. And thank you. I'm really grateful.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Can't wait for part 2.
I'll come back any damn time. You guys send me the link. I'm here.
Yeah. I've got the message right out ready. No, I'm not. Well, you said
I got my calendar right there. Let's book it.
You're saying about dark days, but you do need to have them days where you just shut down from everything.
And be okay with it. Be okay with it.
Sure.
But if you don't have the dark days, you can't appreciate the light days.
Exactly.
This is what we're told, and that's a whole nother rabbit hole in itself. And I think that that's accepting the unacceptable at a level. But I don't disagree with you that that's absolutely apparently how it functions. There's no denying that is present. I think, though, that it may be a next level to this place of consideration, to where we just stop.
Right.
Spirituality, you're just going to be poor, and that's part of it, right? You just stop regurgitating these ideas, because it's NLP at a level. It's neuro-linguistic programming. You're constantly telling your cells this is what is occurring. And so when you flip that script, and especially when you catch one of those acceptables that we're being asked to do, and you go, not me. then that's when the shit really shakes up and it gets really interesting. So don't accept that shit. Don't bow down. No considerations. Yes and, not either or. Tell yourself that all the time. If you're being asked this either or nonsense, find the yes and or fuck off.
Yeah. See, that's kind of like what I've been doing. I wouldn't do stuff because I just never used to do it. But now it's like someone asks me to do something, nothing dodgy, but just hypothetically speaking, I'm like, yeah, go on, I'll do it. And even if it's something I've never done before, because through doing this, which I've never done before, if I can do this, then to me, I can do anything.
Confidence is a series of successes, and it's anything. You do your age and push-ups every day for 21 days, you're going to be so confident.
I don't know about that.
It will, and it's got nothing to do with weights or anything. I'm telling you, it's a mind thing. It's all mental. Make it sit-ups. Make it sit-ups if you want. Do your age in sit-ups. Throw your feet under the couch. Do the the little sit-up. Do your age in those motherfuckers every day. Do 10 at a time. If you don't want to sit down and do them all at once, do 10 now, 10 at lunch, 10 whatever. Do them in one 24-hour period, and then you'll get on a streak of like 17, and then you'll start talking to yourself about I can take a day off, and then see if you do it. And you watch what happens up here. It's a fucking minefield, man. And you start these considerations, but then, it's just one day and I've been doing great. You think of a reward by a break, but that's not the exercise. You're going to get that. That's the exercise. You want to bring that voice out to play.
Yeah.
You want to remind him or her that's not what we're doing moving forward.
Yep.
I'm so proud of you guys. This is wonderful. And I'm grateful for this. Everybody, I just see the chat moving. I'm not really conscious of what's happening there because I'm with you all, but I'm grateful for everybody's engagement. Seems like a wonderful group.
It's a great chat. They're great.
It is. When they behave, it's good.
They always behave.
Do you know them? What chat are you looking at? That's what I want to know.
Everyone's their unique self, which makes them perfect.
Yes.
Absolutely perfect. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing Dawn's episode on here. You guys all in the chat, everybody that likes this episode, come back and check Dawn Lester, my dear friend, out. She'll be on, I think you said the date, but I forgot, the 19th or something?
A week on Thursday.
Okay.
She was saying about the interview that you two guys did. I've not had a chance to listen to it yet because I've been busy this weekend, but I've still got another 2 days off, so I will get on and have a listen.
She's awesome. I'm going to shout it out again. What really makes you ill? This amazing. Look at this book. I mean, it's a good size. And she just did such phenomenal work. And again, the Mandela effect. I love that. And the second I asked her about it too, she was like, "Oh yes, I know all about it." She's wonderful. She goes so deep in all the directions. So you could take her anywhere.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
So massive thank you, Brandon, for coming on. I knew it was going to be amazing from the moment I spoke to you till now. And
I'm truly honored, man. Honestly.
Every bit in between. So yeah, I'll be in touch with the voice notes, obviously, or even a phone call.
Holler at me. I'm here. Yeah.
We spoke the other day, which was pretty cool. So
that's great.
It was good. It was good.
Yeah, pass my info to Nicole. We'll swap over. You guys hang out. I'll send you the next link to the next Patreon. I think we're gonna do one weekend after this one. And those are great. Those 2-hour hangouts. And we just have a special guest come by, and everybody in the community is incredible. So I'll send you guys a link to that.
Please do. Yeah. I can create a chat with us three if you want. Make it easier. Then I'm not doing it twice.
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, I'll put my info in that. Yeah, that'll. I know we're still on air here. Everyone's like, "We're not done with the thing yet."
It's fine.
Everybody is so sweet, though.
They'll get used to it by now.
When they're paradigms, that's a problem. Our brains are hardwired for paradigms. Do not disagree, Bim Jim. Dude, yeah, it's smart. Oh, that's a game. Okay, Unity, and we'll close this up. Okay, Unity was a guest that I had on, and she sat there and channeled the whole time. It was one of the most magical flow and grace about it. She's awesome. I'll get you connected. She talked this example of the game is what this realm is going on and that stuff. And when we look at things like the have and have nots, or this idea of the elite versus the this, and again, these concepts of you can't be spiritually and emotionally mature if you have money, all these sorts of divisive tactics. What is that all about? What's this about? The idea that we live in duality, even as itself, hot, cold, dark, light, either or, right? Rather than idea that our entire reality is structured this way. It has to do with a game. The example is take the game of basketball, for example. One team is blindfolded and has no clue
He's gone.
Down the rabbit hole.
That's it. He's been taken. The Queen of Hearts has took him.
Oh, no, he's back. Oh, but there's
he's
another
back on
Brandon.
another.
It's a clone. It's a clone.
Oh,
Pull down. Okay, are we back?
Yeah, we're back.
The Archons is fucking thing. I'm telling them about the game and they don't care about that. Well, I'm going to tell them anyway.
Okay.
The game is that one team knows is blindfolded and has no clue what the rules are, but there's a shitload of them. The other team, there's much fewer of them, but they have no blindfold on and they know exactly how the game is played. Now, that's something that we feel when we look around here that we see. And then that, brings me to the Leonardo da Vinci quote that there are 3 types of people here. He says classes, but let's not make it about that. 3 types of people. Those who see, those who can see when shown, and those who don't see. And it's that third group there, that third bit that doesn't see, that you can just relax on trying to tell them that the government's doing this or that the world is shaped like that, because they won't see it. And this population, this part of the population needs to exist for this thing to continue in this incredibly interesting direction. So it's all a game, guys, and just deep breaths. You're going to be fine and keep moving forward. Remain unstoppable. That's the main thing.
Yeah. Yep. Right. We've definitely come to an end. 10 minutes over. Doesn't matter. Because
thank you guys for me keeping you up late.
It's fine. I could go on all
It
night,
is.
but I have to take my car has to go for MOT at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Nice.
Cannot wait to be getting up at half 8, ready for 8:45. 10-minute drive. Fingers crossed it'll pass. Because if it doesn't, I'm not doing the normal road trip. So
love me some windshield time.
So
it's a lot to work done, so it should be good.
Manifest that shit.
Yes. So thank you, Brandon. Absolute.
Yeah.
There are no words to express how I'm feeling right now. It's just awesome. It really is.
This is another one that people are going to have to go back and watch.
Oh, yeah.
To get the brain around everything.
Definitely. So on that note, we are going to end it. We will. Right. 1 second. I will need to copy and paste that because I will lose it if I end it.
Yeah.
And I'll send that.
You just thought...
Yeah, I'll send that to you unless you do the
same.
So cheers for that, Brandon.
Cheers, mate.
We'll get it all sorted out for the next one. Shouldn't be more than 4 or 5 weeks, I reckon, maybe. And that's it. So thank you again so much. Thank you everyone in the chat. I know there weren't any questions, but I think everyone's just trying to get their head round of what we're all talking about. So
integrate, deep breaths, integrate. It's all going to be fine, even when it feels like it's not. If it feels like it's not, be okay that it feels like it's not. Go easy on yourself.
Yeah,
you guys are all doing great. I can promise you that.
Yeah, thank you. So that's it for today. Me and Sarah are back on Monday for that happy face. We're going to be talking to Craig Bryant.
That's not what your show is called.
I keep I even name the shows. I use AI for the names of everything, right?
What's the name of this?
That Monday face, because it goes out on a Monday. I keep calling it that happy face. It's not even about a happy face.
What about that happy Monday face?
Someone suggested that, but it's called that Monday face. So there'll be me, Sarah, Craig. He does paranormal podcast, but the Monday one is non-paranormal. Then there's me, Nicole, and Daryl that do eerie encounters on a Wednesday. This Wednesday coming, we're going to be talking about Loch Ness Monster. Then next Friday, I think it's a guy called Drew Banksy who does a spiritual and life healing type kind of stuff. That's if it is him. I can't remember because I haven't got my calendar right in front of me. But this has been absolutely magnificent. So, honoured, privileged, the works. So, on that note,
gratitude.
We are going to go. Have a wonderful weekend. See you guys 8:30 on Monday. Don't know what the name of the podcast is. Just turn up. You'll see
just show up. It's on this channel. You're subscribed.
Yeah. Every single one is
every week.
8:30. 8:30. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. That's it. So
what's on Sunday?
That's the one that me and Tommy are going to be doing. They're all going to be pre-recorded.
Oh, that one's on Sunday. Okay.
Not this Sunday. I've not had time to do it yet because I've been out all weekend. So hopefully I can get one done, get it edited, get out by next Sunday. If not, it'll be the following Sunday. It'll be a Sunday sometime this year.
One a month.
And that's called We Won't Talk About Ghosts, but we probably will. So you never know. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Andy.
Huh?
So thank you, Andy.
Oh, thank you. Hopefully see you Monday, and we'll get things sorted on this side for Brandon to come back on, and we're going to the trippy side of the paranormal. So take care. Have a wonderful weekend. Goodbye.